What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come talk some Phillies, Mets preview with us, and Eagles on deck. Let's go. Let's go.
This ain't the Fox like Austin thinking he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Welcome in, everybody. This is HUD Wednesday nights, only on HUD Radio. Every Wednesday night, we are brought to you by BetUS, and BetUS is a leading online sports book. They've been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link pinned right in our description on both YouTube and Facebook, or use our promo code HUD, and you get 125% sign-up bonus. Greg Moagvik, probably on the toilet. Michael Chromiak below me. Frank Vespi, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. Looks like Ralphie D still on the beach. And Noah, nobody knows. If you know where Noah Eaton is, please send all information to HUD Radio. We're looking for him. Phillies versus Mets series preview. We'll dive into that later on in the show. Big 4-game set coming up. You know, it would have been great to sweep Cincinnati today. The Ranger pitched his butt off. And after 11 runs the night before, Phillies offense non-existent today's game. So big 4-game set coming up against the Mets, and it's really going to dictate where things shake out. Not against the Mets per se, but just when you're racing for this wild card. You know, last night stayed up, wanted to watch the Milwaukee Dodgers game. Milwaukee gets a big hit in the 10th. They walk it off. And then I'm like, all right, well, let me check in on the Giants, right? Giants, Arizona. Our good friend Ian Kennedy enters the game to close it out for Arizona last night. And Mr. Crawford hit a ball that hasn't landed yet and hit a 2 walk-off homer. So we'll talk Phillies later on the show. Obviously, if you have any questions about the Phils, comments, you know where to type them in at. Let us hear it. Jalen Hurts QB rankings. We'll go through. We'll match Hurts up against a lot of the big-name quarterbacks and middle-of-the-road quarterbacks around the NFL, and you're just going to tell us where you rank them. Where's he rank out of 31 other NFL quarterbacks? That should be fun. We're going to be doing this all year now. Ranking him. I can't wait for week 1. I really can't wait for like week 8, right? Because week 8 we're going to know a lot of things. We're going to have a sample size on if this is working or not. We'll do our Eagles 2022 bold predictions, ties into our main topic at hand. Brought to you by Manscaped, and you get 20% off and free shipping with our code A2D at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped, from the weed whacker, the lawnmower, the ball deodorant, the regular deodorant, the lip balm, 2-in-1 body wash, the 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner. Manscaped's got you covered with so many great products. Make sure you use our promo code A2D and get 20% off and free shipping over at manscaped.com. Our poll question for tonight: the Eagles will have 11-plus wins in 2022. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcast, we're there as well. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow, comment in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Answer the poll question. And talk some Eagles with us. I know Vegas right now, the over-under is 9.5. I think that would be a pretty clean sweep down the board. I think most people think they're over 9.5, but that's a telling number to me. It's weird a little bit. Seems a little low. Tells you their lack of confidence in the quarterback, to be honest with you, because when you look across the board at this roster, you say, that's over a 9-win football team. That's a team, at least with an extra football game's a 10-win, right? I'm going to agree that they will have 11-plus, because I'm right on the 11 number right now. I'm holding firm on that 11. I'm 11 or 12. I don't know about 12 yet, because I don't know about the quarterback. I just don't know. I don't know what he's going to be. I got to see this defense play before I can go crown it. I think it's extremely talented. I think on paper we look great, But we've had these things before here in Philadelphia where everything's matching up and everything looks going into the season that we're a really good football team. That being said, I believe it, but I gotta see Jalen take the next steps, especially what everybody's talking about in camp. All these guys can't get out of their own way and can't say quick enough, how good he's doing, right? And never in my time of watching Eagles football have I heard so much about grades and rankings through a preseason that I've heard about Jalen Hurts the last 2 preseasons. It's truly amazing. I've never seen so many quarterbacks get graded out at practice, have a throw chart on what they've done at practice. I've never seen it before. Like this, starting with Jalen Hurts is the first time we've seen guys say, "Hey, guy was 10 for 14 today, 2 great touchdown passes." Like what? I know 7-on-7 drills. What are we talking about, right? And so that all being said, we're gonna wait on that to really know where we're going to be at, right? Because it's going to be hard to get to 11 if he doesn't take a step, even though this roster's better, right? Because our schedule is going to be a little bit tougher, at least on paper. So it's a lot of it's going to have to do with him. A lot of it's going to have to do with this defense. And guess what? The biggest thing has to do with is do you have a healthy football team or not? Because if you don't have a healthy football team, none of it matters. But we're definitely better on every front and behind it than we were last year. I think we're a deeper football team. Can we be healthy coming into week 1? And can we stay healthy through the majority of the season? Hopefully, because if so, and I think even without him taking a huge jump, I still think they're a 10-11 win football team. So, I'm going to stay with 11. I'll agree to the poll, and we'll see where it all shakes out.
Go ahead, Crum. Me? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I have something going on in the background. Give me a few minutes.
Okay, you're good. It's tough because to your opening point, Tom, like I think it's a clean sweep. Like, are they going to win 9 games or more? Like, yeah, I would be shocked if anyone has them lower. If they do, I'm very interested to see why. And then I think a lot of people are around that 10-11 mark. But to me, I'm right there with 11 also because like we can go over, last year and overanalyze and everything, but on the surface, they won 9 games and they weren't very good. Like they were not a good football team. They found something that works, halfway through the season, and they beat up on some really bad quarterbacks. Like and they fell into 9 wins with a bye week in hand almost because the last game of the season didn't even really matter. So that was with a defensive talent group that I don't think was very good at all. They've drastically improved with that, to your point. They got Jalen Hurts even more weapons. And the biggest weapon is A.J. Brown and also a DeVonta Smith in year 2, who's not going to have the pressure on him like a wide receiver 1 and coverage on a wide receiver 1 would have. Your running backs are obviously the strength of the team, and it's a big one, unfortunately. But if healthy, they should be around the same. Especially, I know a lot of people are looking at a year 2 Kenny Gainwell and seeing what he can offer both in the running game and passing game. The defensive line has gotten better, and it was already good. The offensive line, somehow, it was great last year, and I think it's even gotten better. And you look at the secondary. You can just look at that entire defense. So I don't think it's outlandish just looking at things on paper. And yes, of course, if everybody stays healthy, they weren't very good last year. They drastically improved in so many different categories. I have them winning 2 more games. Like that seems minuscule. You know what I mean? And like now that it's a 17 game, 18 week schedule, 10-7. Like I look at 10-7. Do I really see them losing 7 games? Like that's a lot of losses. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's the old 10-6 anymore. And I don't know. Obviously, a lot of it rides on Jalen Hurts. But I'm glad you said the thing that you finished off with. That is, I don't think he really needs to take that. We've referenced it so many times. The Tyrese Maxey level jump for them to be, around the same record, if not a couple wins better. If he improves, then yeah, we're definitely talking about 11, 12, 13, up there. We're really getting crazy. But I think if he marginally gets better, he improves with what he needs to do, doesn't, abandon a clean pocket and actually uses his weapons and maybe throws down the field or down the middle of the field a couple times, I think we're going to be in a really good spot as far as this conference and especially this division. So I'll agree.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't think our running backs were a strength of our team. I just think our running game was a strength of our team, right? And that had a lot to do with Hurts. I don't think there was any running back that was like, I think they just fit into an RPO type situation. It's just easier when you have a running quarterback, and Baltimore does the same thing. They interchange guys in, and no matter really whoever they put in with Lamar is gonna reap the rewards of playing with a guy who can run around. It just makes life of a running back easier here. That's why Miles, the most explosive guy, if he can stay healthy, can make our running game that much better. And that's a big if. But like last year, I mean, the one thing we did great is we ran the football. I don't see the only thing that gets in the way of that is if they try to do what they did for the first 8 weeks of last year and maybe 6 weeks of it and really force feed the throwing game. Because we know that's what Jeffrey Lurie wants to do. We know that every coach would like to throw the football, right? More than just pound. But that's going to be the difference. Are they willing, if it's not working, to go back to what they know really works? Are they willing to say, you know what, we can be a 55-45 pass run. And if that's not working, then guess what? We got to get to a 50-50. And I'm not a believer in a 50-50. I like to throw the football, right? Makes sense? But that's going to be the difference maker to get to 11, right, guys? Because last year they almost got lucky getting to where they got to because, one, they changed their stripes, okay, which is a credit to the coaching staff. But two, they played a lot of XFL teams, down the stretch. So they're not going to have that this year per se on paper. So he's going to have to get better. And I agree with David Cook in his comment right here, where he says if they don't get the 11 wins, it's because it hurts. It's either two things. It's Hurts, David, or it's injuries. That's it. But in terms of like players, getting 11 wins, if you don't get there, it's strictly on the quarterback. If you don't have a 2-win growth from last year of a 9-win football team with the additions that you had, not only in free agency, but in the draft, if you're not 2 wins better, well, that's an indictment on my coaches. That's an indictment on my players. And that's an indictment on my quarterback, most likely.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say really quick to that is one. I'm glad you brought up like, hey, it's interesting whether they're going to embrace what worked with them and worked for them in the second half of last year, or if they're going to kind of reset and be like, hey, Jalen, you reportedly made some improvements in the passing game, and also we need to figure out if you're that guy. So we are going to force the issue a little bit with the passing game. I get all of that, like in a coaching standpoint, like, hey, we want him to throw a lot more because he's got more weapons and we need to figure out if he's the guy. But to your point, I hope they don't force feed that because just situationally, you're going to get in games where you have to throw the football to keep up. You're just going to have to. If it's not going to happen in the regular season, well, number one, if that doesn't happen in the regular season, then damn, how good is this football team where we're so good that we don't need to be getting in, back and forth battles with the opposing offense? And two, when it most matters is the playoffs. And like we've talked about numerous times, which I think is where I think a lot of the skeptics kind of lie with Jalen Hurts, that is he going to be the guy that he could be the quarterback for a team that goes on playoff runs? Because you're not going to be able to go on long playoff runs. I don't care how good your defense is if you can't throw the football a little bit in comparison to, like we talked about before, the Rodgers, the Mahomes, the Matthew Staffords of the world, just to name a few.
Yeah, how many postseason games did we see last year where they ended up being shootouts, right? Where you look in the postseason usually and it's like, okay, who's got the better defense today? They're probably going to walk out with a win. Well, I mean, last year, just as an example, we saw a lot of games that were who's going to throw it more, who's going to have the ball last, right? So, and that goes into what Jeffrey Lurie's always wanted, and a lot of owners would want, and that's to be a show pony, right? And that's the ability to throw the football because scoring a lot of points sell tickets too. Right. and sell merchandise, etc. So as a businessman, he's always had the stripes of wanting to throw the football. And that dates back to his first big hire per se. It wasn't his first hire, but his first big hire, which was Andy Reid. Right. I mean, that was a guy who came in West Coast offense that wanted to throw the football. So we'll see how much he has to say of it, because if it's going bad, I wonder if they switch back this year. Or they just keep forcing it because they have the weapons to want to force it. Frank, Chrome.
Who wants to go?
Well, it's only between you two.
Okay.
I already went. I'm done. I already went.
I mean, I look at this team, and I do think strength of schedule factors into this team. And I think the big difference in this team, aside from all the weapons out on offense, is the defensive upgrades that they made. When I look at the secondary with having Darius Slay with Bradbury out on the outside and the different dynamics that's going to make, all the improvements, they finally addressed the linebacker situation. And like they have a stable, legitimate linebacker core in the middle of the field. I just look at a lot of things, and I felt like they addressed both lines. They got younger on both lines. And really, that's one of those things that we've looked over the last couple of years. It was always a strength, right? Talk about in the trenches and winning in the trenches, getting older. Now the last 2 years, they've infused some of that youth into there. I'm very optimistic about this team due to the strength of schedule, due to the lack of what I believe competition in the division. I think in a worst case scenario, this team wins 12 games. Because I have them for sure losing 4, and then I think they're going to lose 1 of 2. Let me see. I can tell you, I have them losing to. Well, I have them opening the season winning 4 straight before they lose to the Cardinals in Arizona. I think that's it. I think they then win a bunch of games, and I think they lose back-to-back because I think they're going to lose at home against Green Bay and then on the road or at home against Tennessee. And then I think they lose on the road to Dallas. I think there could be a toss-up, dropping a game to one of these 2 teams at home between Minnesota and the Saints. I don't think they lose both. They could lose 1. I actually probably lean a little more towards the Saints, particularly if they're in a position where they're close to wrapping up the division. They're probably not really going to play a whole lot of people down in that Week 16 anyway. But I look at this scenario. We got Cody barking.
Hi, Cody. Hi, Cody.
He's alive.
Hi, Cody.
All right, let me address this. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Frank.
All right, so I actually do agree to the poll as well. Taking a look at, what the Eagles' schedule is looking at right now. Right now, the Eagles are currently favored to win, well, at least betting-wise. They're favorites in 11 of 17 games. They're underdogs in 3, and 3 of those games are pick'ems. So that kind of tells me they are going to go over that 9.5 games and possibly go for that 11. I mean, when I was going through my favorite website, Playoff Predictors, my mind was just wandering around. And for some reason, at some point in the schedule, I had the Eagles at one point 13-0. I'm just clicking around. But I'm just going off of how this team does, at their absolute best, no injuries, playing, as Ken Shamrock says, going 110% every time. For me, I do see this team as an 11-win team. I could see them win a little bit more. 12, perhaps. 13, okay, maybe we have something special going on. But it all depends, everything has to go right. Jalen Hurts has to be on his A game. Game in, game out. We need to not have some injuries. Defense needs to be on point. I'm looking forward to see what the defense has. But it's going to be a fun season. I'm actually looking forward to what this team's going to bring. And then let's hope we can get those 11-plus wins and hopefully something good in the playoffs.
I think their home schedule is tougher than their road schedule, and the back end of their schedule is tougher. Like, this team could legitimately start like 10-1. And, like, it's not even like, oh, we're stretching at any games. This team, looking at the schedule, should probably start somewhere in the vicinity of 9-2 or 10-1. If they don't, if they lose 3 or 4 games in the front end, I'm going to be worried. Because they have a very, very easy schedule. I know it's all based off of last year, but I look at these teams. There's nobody that I look at that I say, this team got better. Where I say, oh.
Well, who? Give me the teams. Who's all there part of that first, like, what do you say, 11 games?
Detroit Lions.
Okay, win.
Minnesota.
Where?
In Philly.
That's a win for us.
I think that's a win.
It's not cold yet either, though.
I see them losing it, but I think that's a win. Yeah, but Minnesota plays in the cold. They're used to that. I don't think that's
They play in the dome, so
Yeah, no, that's the
Yeah.
It's not the old Minnesota
right.
anymore.
But they play in that division where they play at Lambeau
Wow.
and Chicago.
yeah, no, I get that. I just meant like it's not like a home field advantage type because it's cold.
I think they.
I'll go
Then
win.
you have the commies
Where?
At
in
Washington.
I think we're
Lost.
splitting. Yeah, I was gonna say we're splitting with
Yeah,
them.
we're
And it would be
splitting.
so typical.
Yeah.
The first game against Carson, we get.
I don't
he
think-
kills
Yeah,
us.
No, Carson.
So what I have
We're
here
losing
is
that
with
game.
the with the NFC East games, especially with Washington, we're projected to split with both of them. Same thing with Dallas, split both of those, and then
Dallas,
for
I
the
have a-
Giants games, favored and we're supposed to be favored to beat the Giants by their respective spreads. So
Then you got Jacksonville after the commies.
Yeah, we better not lose that.
that's a win.
That's at home. Arizona in Arizona. I think that's a definite loss against.
Well,
Kyler.
remember they don't have D-Hop. Remember, just keep that in
Right.
mind. Kyler Murray's not the same guy, and
Right.
Marquise Brown's going to be gone. So their main receiver is
That's
no
true. That's when
disrespect.
they
No
should lose, but they could steal.
yeah. I mean, no disrespect to our guy in Eagle Legend, but their main receiver is Zach Ertz, and
So
I don't
I'll
think
trade-
Zach Ertz
I'll
is Zach
trade
Ertz
that
anymore.
Guys, I'll trade that out. I'll say win in Arizona, and I'll give you the commies game. Still, at that point, you're looking at one, maybe two losses in the first. Then you have, I think they beat Dallas in Philadelphia, and they lose in Dallas at the end of the year. Then they have Pittsburgh in Philly. Pittsburgh stinks.
Might be a Kenny
have-
Pickett game. That might be Kenny
Yeah,
Pickett.
I think at this point we're probably going to see more Kenny Pickett by the time
The
it gets to Pittsburgh.
Texans, the Texans, the Commanders, the Colts. Then I think they lose back-to-back at home. Green Bay and Tennessee.
It's fate. You know what it is, Tom and guys. It's the exact opposite of what the schedule was last year. Remember, the first portion of the schedule was oh my god, how are we going to survive this? It's the exact opposite here. I'm looking at it, and this is why,
It seems too good to be true.
Yeah, I'm what? I hate doing this because it's way too early. And we don't know the situation. Who's healthy, who's not, who's good, and who's not. But it's that's it. That's it. Cardinals without D-Hop, the Commanders, the Cowboys, who I don't think are that great, to be honest. I think they're okay. I don't think they're great.
I'm going the reverse, though. I'm taking a reverse approach to this season, and I am going to be very optimistic that Jalen Hurts is going to make a jump this year and prove himself to be. What the hell was that?
My bad. I was pulling up Facebook and I was watching.
I thought somebody played
Andy's
some
show
thing in the background.
I was watching.
I really
some,
do. I'm buying in a little
appreciate
bit.
that.
I'm buying in a little bit on Jalen Hurts this year. I'm buying in on the confidence that the team has behind him.
Oopsies.
And you know what? I don't want to go in this year. I feel like we've been going in the last couple of years. I believe in the power of positivity, right? Like the New Day says here, Ryan, it's the power of positivity. And I really am. I'm buying into it. I like Jalen Hurts. I want to see him succeed. I don't want to see the same thing as last year. I don't want to see where if we're falling behind games, we have to rely on an arm getting back in. But there's a lot more weapons, and I think the X factor, again, is the defense. I think the defensive upgrades this year is what's going to be a bit of the X factor to keep the to keep the ball in the offense's hands. So
Yeah, just interested to see how our defense coordinator handles those upgrades. Right, I still have my doubts on Jonathan Gannon as a defense coordinator, and I think everybody should. And it's one of those things prove to us that you are a legitimate one. Last year, I'm not going to say he did good or bad, right? I'm just going to say it's a really unknown body of work when you're facing the quarterbacks that he faced at the end of the year, right? Because when they faced really good ones, they were getting picked apart left and right. So now you have upgrades. My point here is now you have upgrades. Yeah. So now, again, like times yours, Jalen, times yours, Jonathan Gannon, because the upgrades are at your disposal now to have a really successful defense and not feel like that you only can bring 4 or you can't play press coverage, right? Or you can only play one type of system or scheme. Now it gives you the opportunity to really show us why are you getting interviewed for head coaching jobs? Are you really that game day smart? Because now you're going to find out. right? And I'm not saying last year one way or the other, a negative or a positive. I'm just saying
I felt like it got stronger as the season went on. The big turnaround that we saw, and we discussed it plenty of times on different shows, the turnovers is something we haven't seen in years on this team. And I felt like they made astronomical steps in terms of creating turnovers on the defensive side of the football. And then I look, and I know it looks bad in the beginning when you look at that playoff game and you say you went down by 2 touchdowns right away. But the way the defense, I felt like, recovered and put them in a position to try to win that football game. But at that point, you had a quarterback that was not good enough to throw you back into the football game. I think that should be commended because that happens in the NFL. It's about how do you bounce back from a tough start like that, or coming out of the second half and getting the doors blown off the first couple of drives. And I felt like they adjusted after those first 2 drives against Tampa Bay and overall played very well to where they had a shot at winning that football game. An outside shot. The quarterback wasn't quite ideal for that situation. But at the end, you looked like the defense failed you when the game started. But as the game went on, I felt like the defense played really well, and it proved to be the quarterback play. So I was encouraged by what I saw going into last year. Now factoring that's offseason, by the end of the year, factoring that into the upgrades this year. I hope and I suspect that those upgrades are going to fit this system and the pieces are going to mesh even that much more together.
I just think at the end of the day, I think we can all agree, regardless of how we feel about certain, position groups or coaches or quarterbacks, the thing that's going to keep this Eagles team from going to where they need to be, whether that's record, whether that's division title, whether that's playoff wins, is sheer incompetence. Like if Jonathan Gannon...
is that a kitten cuddling under your neck there, dude? Is that a kitten?
Me or who?
I said no. What do you got?
I didn't hear the
cuddling under your neck? What is that? Sorry, Ryan. I mean to cut you.
I need a better razor.
I thought he had an animal under there.
Yeah, maybe mix in a T-shirt too. You know what I mean?
You look like you're starting to convert to the Amish.
Looks like he's in the coffin again, Tom. He's back in that freaking coffin.
Yeah.
Again.
How are you, fellas?
I'm doing great, brother. What was it? What was the ending of that point?
Something about incompetence. I think the thing that's going to keep this Eagles team from being what we expect them to be is incompetence. Whether that's Jonathan Gannon, not knowing how to run a defense and putting very talented players in positions to succeed, or whether it's Jalen Hurts not using his weapons. We could all be critical of Jalen, but it's not like we're asking Jalen to be Mahomes. No, literally go to your left, don't abandon a clean pocket, and use your weapons. That's literally it. If he does that and everything else kind of falls into place, you're looking at 10, 11, 12 wins.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is he's going to do that, and he's going to win a playoff game, and we're not going to use either one of those picks on a quarterback, and the real guy will stand up the following year.
After a contract extension.
Yep. Which
I do think that's what's going to happen, Tom, to where we're going to be kind of right back where we are now, where it's like, hey, Jalen, maybe he did win a playoff game, but we're still going to be like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of just going to be the thing as long as Jalen Hurts is here.
Listen, he's got to be able to prove to us this year in some shape or form that he can win the shootout game. And until that, I'm not paying him any types of money. Makes sense? You got to show me that you can win the shootout versus a Josh Allen. You got to show me you can win a shootout versus a Patrick Mahomes, a Tom Brady. The likes, right? Matthew Stafford. You got to show me that you can win a game like that versus those types of quarterbacks. And I'm not talking about winning a 21-17 football game. I'm talking about that neither team can be stopped, and you're right there. And everything. Yeah, slinging it. And our eyes tell us, you know what, man, this guy's really turned the corner. He's really taken a big leap. And like we said, it doesn't have to be a maxi leap. It just needs to be bigger. It just needs to be proof that you've gotten better. Because all this talk is cheap. I don't care what these guys all want to say about him. Oh, he throws a deep ball with so much accuracy and this and that and the third. And coaches are raving about him. And beat reporters can't tickle his balls enough. So, it's at some point, we got to see it with our eyes, because the practice stats and all the coach speak, players speak, is just what preseason's all about, right? I mean, and until we see it in real games, not preseason games too, like real games, this whole season's such an asterisk, because I don't know what they expect if he's not the guy. Makes sense? Like I don't know. Like I don't know. I mean, maybe like to the poll, maybe we aren't at 11, maybe we're at 9 or 10 again, right? If he's not the guy, right, and doesn't take steps, because I think if he takes steps, we're 11, 12. We're easily in that conversation, right? Especially with the schedule we were talking about. But if he stays status quo and he's the same guy, we're probably right around where we were last year. Because now there's more tape on how to stop him. Sorry, that's what I'm saying. Now there's more tape on how to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is an interesting question by Philly Sports with Bake. Which, by the way, what's up, brother? Asking, how about this scenario? What if Hurts plays good enough to win a game, but someone drops a ball or fumbles it away? Does he still come back next year? I think, for me, to answer this question, I'm going to get your guys' thoughts. For me, a step forward. You talk about Tom. We want to see a step forward. To me, double-digit wins and a playoff win is a step forward for me.
Yep.
I think you have to get to that, right?
Yep.
We've seen 9 wins on an easy schedule, so it's not an astronomical to say, give me at least another extra win this year. And I think a playoff win, because I think they're in a position to have a much better seeding than sneaking in this year. Mm-hmm. They should be able to win a playoff game. But that being said, with this question, I think, and your guys' thoughts, I think it depends on how the game is, because we're talking, if they're slinging and the defense isn't doing what we hope they would be doing, and he's slinging it, and he's keeping them in a game, and then Jalen Reagor drops a football, then obviously that's not on him. But if we have a game where he's not efficient at the quarterback position, but he's doing just enough to where it's a 13-17 game or something along those lines, with this offense that should be able to put more points on the board, I think that there's accountability that goes to somebody else. However, you still have to look at the quarterback play of what opportunities were left on the field that didn't have to come down to that position.
Well, yeah, I think it comes right to here, right? Philly Sports with Bake. Like, your eyes are going to tell you if he's progressed. Forget the win-losses for a second, right? And forget winning a playoff game. You're going to be able to see if it's better. You're going to be able to see if the timing's better, if his anticipation's better. I mean, that's just easy eyes are going to be able to tell you that. And they're going to be able to tell you that through 4 to 5 weeks. They're really going to be able to start to tell you that, even with playing less competition. I don't care who you're playing. You're going to show me if your anticipation and your timing's better. And you can throw guys open, and you don't have to worry about waiting till a guy's already open. That's going to be told by no matter who you play. So you don't need like a big strength of schedule to say that. But then there's the other side, like Crum, you're saying, like, okay, he gets let down by a Reagor drop. Okay, that game against New York's a perfect example of that, right? He got let down by drops in the final 2 minutes, but for the rest of that game, he was atrocious too.
Worst game as a pro for him. Worst
game similar to Carolina too.
Like,
the Carolina game was the same way, although we came back to win that game, right? You know what I mean? So you're going to give him, we won the game, but for 3 quarters of that game, he was atrocious, and the defense just kept you in it. Or you can look back at the Chargers game. Like, those are the 2 games last year that come to mind. Is the Carolina game where he was atrocious, but we won. Mm-hmm. And then the Chargers game where the defense was atrocious, and it came down to, as I was coming on, Tom was talking about, winning the shootout, right? Beating Justin Herbert in the shootout. That's what that Chargers game kind of was, right? It was whoever had the ball last was going to win.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it was Justin Herbert. It wasn't necessarily a bad game on Jalen's part. So those are those 2 types of games that come to mind from last year.
But that's what makes that question.
Let me piggyback off of Greg's point real quick. I mean, it's not just Jalen that's on trial, so to speak, here, right? I mean, it's also on this defense. I mean, Jonathan Gannon-led defense. Do they come to play?
No. Don't even play
against the better quarterbacks on their schedule.
Not does the defense, does the coordinator. Stop. Hold on. I'm going to stop you. Stop putting the guys on that play in there, because the guys who can play can play. Okay, let's keep something in mind. I don't care. It's college football. He's getting the anchor up the middle of arguably one of the best defenses in college football history. Okay, arguably one of the best, one of the most shut down defenses in college football history. And two big parts of that are Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. That's two big parts of it. They didn't have great corners. They didn't have great safeties at Georgia. They had a great front and linebackers all over the football field. And those two led it up the middle. So right there, he's getting two guys right from the college ranks that weren't just part of a good defense. They're part of going to be considered one of the better defenses that we've seen in college football in a long time, especially in a spread league like it is now. Okay,
I agree.
So hold on. Then he gets Bradbury, and he gets Bradbury. He gets Hassan Reddick, right? He gets Kaiser White. I mean, we're just naming guys that he's gotten to help him.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not even the players. It's is this guy good enough to have this defense in the top 10? Because if they're not in the top 10, I'm gonna point the blame right to that guy. That's all I wanted to get off my chest about him because I don't like this guy.
No, I totally agree. I mean, if they cannot stop the better, if they against the better, I didn't take a look at the whole schedule, all right, but against the better,
you don't have any pockets.
I'm sorry,
because you're laying there naked. I mean, you're butt naked right now. I mean, this might be our last show ever if the camera falls. You know what I mean? The camera, if you got Jalen Reagor hands, this will be our last show of all time.
Just firmly grasp the camera.
I want you only firmly grasping the camera.
Yeah, firmly grasp.
No firm grips anywhere else.
Yeah, right. Please no.
We are a family show, not a how to make a family show. No.
We want to see your other hand at all times. Go ahead.
Only on Nate's channel you do that other stuff.
Oh, Christ. Anyway, the blanket's on. It's staying on. Anyway.
It's good.
Oh, boy.
But against the better quarterbacks of the NFL, unlike last year, this defense, look at the first couple of months of last season. We got absolutely torched. Look at the playoff game against Tampa Bay. Brady absolutely torched us. So, it's now Jonathan Gannon is given a lot of extra ammunition to work with. Now it's up to him to game plan to stop the elite quarterbacks of the NFL. Just like on the offensive side of the ball, of course, it's up to Jalen to step up and show that he's taken that, progression and that he has shown dramatic improvement. So if those two things happen, I think we're really going to like where we're at come January.
No, I agree with you. Greg, you didn't get an answer to the poll. Either did you, Noah. So if you're just joining us, our poll question, which was brought to you by Manscaped, and you get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. And if you're just joining us, pound the like, pound the subscribe, hit the follow button, stay around for a while, turn the damn alert on and comment in and I'm not going to say what else I was going to say. But a poll question, the Eagles will have 11-plus wins in 2022. Do you boys agree or disagree?
Go ahead, Greg.
I agree. I absolutely agree to the poll. I have tickets to prove that I agree to the poll. I have NFC champs and Super Bowl champ tickets, plus over 9.5 wins. So I'm all in. I'm all in on this team this year. I think even – yes, we want to step forward, right? Because we ultimately still have to determine if this guy's the long-term guy. But I think for just this year, we're just looking in this year's scenario, I think he could just still be average and we win 10, 11 games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think to pay him the money that expected to pay him the money that's guaranteed to these quarterbacks nowadays. Yes, we need to see jumps, right? You know what I mean? Like, we need to see jumps and we need to see advancements in his games and in his progression. But for this year, he could be average with the defense and the offense around him, and I still think we're at minimum 11 win team.
Noah?
Yes. I think personally, I think this is a 12-win football team, but I have it more so on this defense being greatly improved, with the talent added to this football team. I really think we're a top 5 defense in the NFL, and we're going to have to play like it week in and week out, for us to rack up enough wins to win the division and possibly get a first round bye and put us in prime position to make Super Bowl run. I think Jalen will show improvement this year. I'll say we'll call it good, not great, but I think when it's all said and done, we'll be saying that we can at least compete with the upper echelon of the NFL. And wow. I really don't think we could say that last year. And last year's wild card game was obvious proof.
No, listen, I agree to a point. I think we're better. I don't know if we're with the upper echelon around football. I mean, if I look at a team, we'll just go all Super Bowl champions. If I look at the Rams, I don't know if we're at the same level as them. And I say that because even if he's just the same, we can't score with them. So we better hope our defense is that much better than theirs. And we better hope our defense takes the football away. We almost hope we got to almost get lucky in a game like that. Even though I think we're an 11-win football team, I don't know if we're there yet. And the only way we're going to find out if we're there is if he can throw the football at a close to an elite clip, right? It doesn't have to be elite, but it has to be close to it, right? Because, we added great pieces around it, great supporting cast on both sides of the football. But he still has to deliver the football. This is why quarterbacks get paid so much. You know what I mean? Because
he still has to make a throw on 3rd and 7.
Yeah, you got to stand in. You got to be able to stand in, deliver a strike, right? Put it in a tight window. I mean, we saw Matthew Stafford with one of the best passes we've seen all year in the Super Bowl with a no-looker to Cooper Kupp. Like, he ain't making no-look passes. Let's start with the one he's looking at, right? And I don't need the razzle-dazzle. I don't care about him with a no-look pass. I just care with him being on time. I care with him showing me growth because, again, we're going to find out the first few weeks of the season if that growth really took place this offseason or if all the camp shit is just the most ridiculous thing of all time. I hope everything I'm hearing in camp comes true this year because if it does come true, then the Noah's point, then we are in, say, top 6, 5 power rankings in the NFL. But if it's just good, if he's just good and he's like the same, we're not. We're maybe top 10 power rankings we could probably sneak into because of our roster, right? And because of our early schedule, right? Maybe somewhere around there, but we're not top 5. And that's the difference of being, hey, top 10, I'm a really good football team. Top 5 means right. I got a chance to cut nets down until he proves he's ready for that. My ship, and part of my bold predictions is I think this team goes to an NFC title game. I just think they do because of what they have in the draft the following year. And then you're like, you can't move on from a quarterback took you to a title game, right? So one of my bold predictions is that they go to a title game, and we'll figure it out when they get there if they win or lose that. But that's one of my bold predictions because I do think that they're going to be really good. And part of that bold prediction is
top 10 gets you a playoff win or two.
I think he takes little steps forward.
That's like a perfect way to start off our bold predictions. I was wondering.
Wow, what a great segue!
Felt like we were going there. And while we're at it, let me pay a bill real quick. Our bold predictions is brought to you by FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D for a $50 value. FanUp, find them right on the Apple Store. Go download them. Right, you'll love it. Not only during NFL season, but NBA they got contests. MLB, they have contests that you can go challenge anybody that anything you want. It's extremely interactive. Go download FanUp right on the Apple Store and make sure you use our promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, which is a $50 value. So go do it. Do it.
I'll go next with the bold prediction. And I was looking at this, so if I'm wrong, I blame Pro Football Reference. I'm like 99% sure of this. My first bold prediction is I think an Eagles linebacker will make a Pro Bowl, and that'll be the first time since 2005.
Wow.
And that was
do you have an idea of who you're thinking?
So I'm gonna so last week I was all Davion Taylored up. I'm not gonna do that.
Hoping you weren't going there again.
I'm retracting mostly because
hoping we weren't going there again.
I didn't see him in the preseason game. So if I don't see him there,
it's only one guy. It's only one guy.
It's Kaiser. I think Kaiser. I think Kaiser is going to be one of the sneakier / better signings of the NFL season. So he makes a Pro Bowl.
Nice. My first one, I'm kind of scared for this upcoming season because I'm so like I'm actually like now that we're getting close to it, like I'm kind of getting excited about it because I just have a really good feeling. I think Jalen Hurts finishes top 5 in the MVP voting.
He's done. He's done.
Also one of mine.
He's done.
So
that 45 minutes of talking up Jalen, that's all. That all worked the whole time.
With you on that one, Greg. I think the same thing. I think he makes the jump this year.
For me,
I think you guys are fucking crazy. I think I'm absolutely insane.
Greg, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm gonna go out on that limb with you, buddy, on this one.
I just have a feeling it's gonna come together for him. I just do.
It's really
hold on. You're almost not allowed to. You know what I mean? You watched him too long. You had too many question marks the whole time. So
you're absolutely right, and I still do have them.
So what's changed to make you go bold there? What's changed for you? I just like to hear it because I need you to change.
I think the upgraded weapons around him take the pressure off of him to almost be so perfect, right? You know, in the past, you could go back to any quarterback that we've had here in the past. We haven't always no one's had this talent around him, right? You go all the way back to Donovan. They never had this talent around. So it's almost like they've had to be so perfect at times that there was no wiggle room. There was no, there's a 50-50 ball and my guy got it because my guy's better, right? It was a 50-50 ball and the ball went the other way because my guy's not going up and getting the football, right? You look at the additions, DeVonta Smith last year, right? Came in and had a monster rookie year. And Jalen wasn't good last year. And DeVonta still had a really good year. And then you add A.J. Brown. Yeah, I think Pascal is going to have a decent year, right? So I think we're 4 deep at the wide receiver, which when could we have said that in the past? We have a top 3 offensive line when healthy, even when not healthy, because I have a feeling, if like a Jason Kelce or Salomalo is not healthy, we have enough bodies to just roll with it.
Yeah, we have 2 tiers. Mm-hmm.
On paper, we have a top 5 to 10 defense, and and we have one of the top 3-5 tight ends. And then we talked last week. I don't think it doesn't matter who's running the football behind Jalen because of what Jalen could do himself with the football, right? So I just think there's so much around him that he doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to progress, and I think he does.
In the interest of change, not doing the same one as you, Greg, but I'm going to do in the similar realm. Piggybacking off of a lot of what you said there with those weapons and everything around. I'm with you on that, but I'll add to that and say Jalen Hurts threw for a little over 3,100 passing yards last year. I think he's going to go for 4,000 passing yards this year.
Ooh.
How many did you have last year?
Yeah, 3,100.
3,200, something along those lines.
3,144 was last
Shit,
season.
what do you 2 got in your drinks tonight? I want to believe in this so bad, but like my buddy Philly Sports
in the top 10. That should put him in the top 10 in passing yards.
It should, but this is what everybody's missing. Like, do you realize, like, he's not a guy who didn't have tons of talent around him in college throwing a football. I mean, are we all okay here? At Alabama, he had the likes of what Philly Sports Page just said down here, right? Judy, Ruggs, Waddle, Smith, all Alabama. Then he goes over to Oklahoma. He's got, CeeDee Lamb, pretty good. He had CeeDee Lamb. He probably had somebody else I'm not even thinking of there, too. I'm sure, because it's Oklahoma, right? He's had the ability of guys around him that take, and I completely agree with that premise of, hey, all this talent around you makes your life easier. Mm-hmm. That also goes the other way too, boys. Sure. All that talent around you puts the microscope, right, and the binoculars right on you.
There's no question.
Listen, I want to love this kid's work ethic. I want to love a training video of squats. I want to love this stuff. Okay. I want to believe in him. Ryan done many shows with me just saying that I'm giving him his junior year, which is this year right now.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking about top 5 MVP voting, woo. Like, and then somebody said win it. Somebody in the comments said win it. Like
I'm not going that far.
Oh, yeah.
I think 3,500 is
3 or 4 yet. I'm just saying top 5 voting.
That's all we had. That's all we had was at Oklahoma. Oh, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we had was CD at Oklahoma.
I think the 4,000 yard thing is no offense, Greg. I think that's crazier than what Greg said. Because to me, like if you want to go like total yards, that's one thing. Like, okay, if he's up there in total yards. I can't see him getting to that number passing because of how much he uses his legs.
Yeah,
like everything impressive he showed last year was his legs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, and that's with half a season where he had a bad ankle. So like he was like hobbled for a good chunk of last year. So like, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that like the same yardage that Carson Wentz got to like in 2019? Everyone made it like a big deal because like he got to 4,000 yards without like a big time receiver. It was the year that he got hit in the head by Clowney.
Yeah.
So it's like it took somebody like that who, listen, Carson's got his own issues, but we know he can at least throw the football sometimes, mostly the other team sometimes. But it's like much better arm talent, and it took him all that to get to that number.
2019, you're right. 40.
Yeah, like
40,039.
Well, Steelers fans wrong too, by the way. Because Steelers fan, just in case you missed last year's stream, and I'm sure you didn't, is that I sat here and said they were a playoff team last year, and I got laughed at. Okay, so just please miss me with how do you have them winning 11 games if you don't totally believe in Hurts? Because their roster's good enough, and he's adequate enough, and can make plays outside the pocket, which can win you football games in the regular season. That's what I said last year. Remember what I said last year about Jalen Hurts? Is his ability to run around can win you some games. And it's exactly what happened. But to be able to win in the playoffs, you have to be able to throw from the freaking pocket enough. That's the question. That's the thing. So hold on a second. One more thing I want to address. JW, I can't be eating my words by week 8. Okay? I can't eat my words unless in a playoff game, he can sit back in the pocket and deliver stuff on time and win us a playoff game by being able to do that. Right? Because that's not me being a hater. That's not me saying anything more than what we watched. Right now, he's a regular season quarterback, right? That can get you 10, 11, maybe even 12 wins. We see it with Lamar. But if you can't throw from the freaking pocket in the postseason, you are an early exit. And early can mean anything. An early exit's not winning a Super Bowl, right? I mean, in reality, an early exit's not getting a one. I told you my bold prediction is they go to an NFC title game. So what words am I eating? Like, what? Did I think he takes a step? I just don't know how big of it is. I'm not guys, I said he takes a step earlier on the show. And now because I'm not putting him in a top 5 MVP conversation, now I'm going to eat my words by week 6 or 8 or 12 or whatever freaking narrative it is. I sat here and said, I believe he takes a step. I just, like Ryan said, I don't know if it's a Maxey step. It might just be a Ben Simmons shooting video step. It might be something minuscule, right?
I got freaking chills when you said
No
that.
more
Jesus.
of those. Please don't say that.
Oh, I got chills. Oh, God.
But I just think I think this number is a good number, like 3,700. Christopher Glover says. I think that's a really good benchmark for him to be shooting for, because that could even put him, like, if he has 35 total touchdowns, 34 total touchdowns, that's putting him in that top 10 conversation of MVP votes. Like, I'll give you a bold prediction of top 10 because his stats in the regular season could make a dry jock jerk off a lot.
That's kind of where the bold prediction was, right? You know what I mean? Like, I also think that he. Everything I said earlier was true, but you're right. He does other things that you just compile stats, right? You know what I mean? Like, how many of those stats last year, were in garbage time, right? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Because sometimes they were, but that don't matter, right? At the end of the year, whether you got 37 or 32, but it doesn't matter where you compile those stats, right? You know what I mean?
If somebody says,
yeah, you rush for 40 touchdowns, it doesn't matter.
If somebody says, hey, I think Jalen Hurts, this is my bold prediction, right? I think he's going to be a top 3 quarterback in fantasy. Okay. Like, sure. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's a
That's
big
not
jump.
even a bold prediction. He was a top 5 last year. That wouldn't be a bold.
Well, then I went to 3, Chrome. So there we go. We're
That's
moving
not
up
a
a little
bold
bit.
prediction, though.
It's not
But it's more realistic than 4,000 freaking yards and top 5 in MVP after not being able to.
Bold, Ryan, because I think realistic would be 3,600. But I'm looking at. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to go out and stretch it out. I think guys like Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert is going to eclipse over 1,000 yards receiving this year. I think that DeVonta Smith's going to take a step forward this year. I think that there's going to be other yards that guys left on the field last year where he's not going to have to run the football as much. There is more weapons on the field. And one thing we need fucking Miles Sanders to stay on the football field.
Yeah, I think
the passing game big time too.
My bold prediction is DeVonta Smith makes a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro. One of the two. They're both similar.
I like that.
But I think he goes on. I think he's a first or second team All-Pro or Pro Bowl or in that conversation. I think he has a monster year because what happens. You go get a number 1. Everybody respects the hell out of A.J. Brown around the league. He's going to draw attention, right? Dallas Goedert's going to draw attention. Those two are going to probably draw more attention than DeVonta Smith. And I think this suits Jalen perfectly because Jalen likes to throw to the guy who's already open. And DeVonta was open a ton last year, even with coverage rolling his way. So I think where he gets one-on-one matchups, he's gonna cook guys. And I think their connection is going to be bigger than AJ's and Jalen's. And it's not thinking AJ isn't going to be good enough because I still think AJ. I think the 2 wide receivers both eclipse 1,000. Right, the tie into where you guys are trying to go here. I don't think Dallas gets to 1,000. I think he's going to miss a game or 2. I just think that's a given with him. All right, maybe 2. He's just a physical player. When you're that physical, sometimes you miss like 2 games. So I think he's around the 800, 900 mark. But I think he's a double digit. He could be a double digit touchdown guy, which makes up for the yards. But I think all 3 of those guys have monster years around each other. So that would equal him taking a step. But also, it doesn't mean he has to take a step. That just means RPOs, running around the regular season, getting them outside the pocket, big throws. So, that's my other. I thought my other bold one is I think DeVonta's an All-Pro.
Nice.
Frank, you're muted. You're muted.
Push-ups.
Go ahead.
All right, so I actually have a bold prediction for regarding Mr. Jalen Hurts. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts breaks Randall Cunningham's single-season record for rush yards by an Eagles quarterback.
Which is what, Frank?
Currently, the record is at 942, set in 1990. Last season, Jalen Hurts had 784.
I like that a lot. I like that prediction a lot because, again, he had the hobbled ankle. He couldn't move.
Yeah, with the hobbled ankle, and, he missed the Jet game, and, he played for that one series in Dallas. Yep. And so
we played 17 games. They only played 16 in 1990. That's a real good one.
Well, I think his weapons can help him with that.
The weapons can help him, and I know everybody says, "Oh, it's just preseason," but looking at him in the preseason, when those receivers get locked up, that offensive line is going to create those opportunities for Jalen Hurts. Hey, nobody's available. I could just take off and go. Now, hopefully, I don't get slammed in on the sideline and have my coach freak out. But I really like this. I'm gonna make it somewhat of a 2-parter, maybe go for a 1A, 1B kind of thing. But I think he'll eclipse the 1,000 yard mark.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna.
While you're there, I kind of was sensing that as well as when you said how close it was already. I was like, right, just in my mind, just kind of like, all right, he's gonna get to 1,000 yards.
I think he has a good chance of getting to 1,000. It all depends. If he plays, Ken Shamrock going 110%. I think he has a good chance on breaking Cunningham's record, and I think he might eclipse 1,000. We had Carson Wentz eclipse the 4,000 mark for the first time in Eagles history. Why not Jalen Hurts eclipse a rushing quarterback?
Well, what's that break into a game? Sorry, Chrome. What's that break into a game? Like 60, 65? What's that number a game for 1,017 games?
58.823529.
No, I don't think that's crazy because I think there's games where he rushes for 90, and I think there's going to be games where he rushes for 30. So absolutely. I think that's a really good bold prediction. I think out of all of them so far, that one might be the winner.
To your point too, Frank. Right?
Yes.
He's played a quarter of the amount of games as Randall Cunningham has played. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Randall played 122 for the Eagles. He's played 30. He's already number 4 on the all-time franchise list, by the way.
Yeah.
But you look, and he's literally almost to the point, to the yard, a quarter of the way there. Randall's at 44.82. He's at 11.38. So that's very reasonable for him to do that, particularly with the extra game, if he stays healthy.
Right.
Just looking at what he's done. I'm sticking with my opposite, though. He's going to throw the ball more.
It's funny because that's I kind of lean with Wayne with the, he said if he runs that much, will the passing game suffer, or at least his overall performance? I don't think his overall performance will suffer, but that's why I disagree so much with Chrome's. He gets to that mark with the passing. And at the end of the day, if they win with him running or passing, I don't really give a damn. I would like it to be passing because that shows me,
right.
That makes me feel better, especially in a playoff situation against a better quarterback that can actually stay in the pocket and throw. But that's it's not a shot at Jalen, but the biggest reason why I don't think he gets to 4K is because I don't think he can. I don't think there's enough time because of how much he's going to run the ball.
Right. I did think about what Jalen Hurts going for 5,000 all-purpose yards. That was originally what I was going to write down for Jalen, but I'm thinking to myself, is what's the best way for him to get to that 5,000? Is it going to be 4,000 passing yards, and from there, I just don't know whether if that was possible for him. Can he do it? We'll see. But right now, I see him as like a 3,500, maybe 3,700 yard passer. But that all depends on how everything goes, So that's where I went with, hey, let's go with the rush yards and see where that record's at, and I think it's a doable record.
Frank, and I think his passing yards could be 3,200, like almost similar to last year, 3,300.
Yeah.
But because of his ability to run around and the weapons, your touchdown numbers can go up. So how many touchdowns did passes he throw last year? I don't have it in front of me.
Actually, let's pull it up to Google. Last year,
15, 16?
16.
Yeah.
16. Yeah, 16 last year compared with the 9 interceptions.
Well, the big growth is can you get the 24 over? Because if you want to get the 35, for this team to be like a 12-13 win football team, he's got to be 35 total. Right? Yeah, or at least 30 total, right? And I think he has a chance to get there. How many rush touchdowns did he have?
10.
So last year he had 26 total TDs. I think I said last year that he needed to be around 30 for us to make the playoffs, right? So he's right around there at 26, right? And he missed a game and a bad ankle. So he's right around that 30. I think this year to take another step for us, right, in terms of the amount of football games we win, he's got to be 32-ish plus, right? So he's got to take that jump, which is, again, we're talking about, 6 more touchdowns, 8 more touchdowns? He's got to have at least 8 more touchdowns combined than he did last year. I think they can come not only in the air, but on the ground as well. So, or more come in the air because you are a weapon down in the red zone, right? And we watch enough football. We know how this game works. If you're down there enough and you can run around and make plays, you're probably going to find the end zone more often than not. So, I think that's a pretty big. I think that's a good thing to put I can't even talk right now. Set ourselves up, right, in so many words. Yeah.
So the one thing I would say, though, to combat that is he ran the football a lot more earlier in the first half of the year, and he did not run the RPO very well then, to where everything was basically you don't see your first read and he would take off. Mm-hmm. So it's part of why I think this year, a year better, he started to look more confident running the RPO, that he would take that pass option a lot more as the season goes on. So I'm looking at that too, with having an A.J. Brown and a lot of these other weapons around. I do think he's going to throw the football more. And that's why I like Frank's prediction, but I could see it going the opposite way because I don't think he's going to run the football as much this year. He's still going to run it a lot. I'm not saying he's not. But he forced a lot of those runs early in the year, which led to him eventually kind of having those aches and pains down the stretch.
Can you teach an old dog new tricks at this point?
He's not an old dog yet.
He's an old dog in terms of playing quarterback.
Maybe, but you could have said the same thing about Donovan McNabb, who ran the football his first 2 or 3 years. and they eventually were able to reel him in too.
No, I mean they were to a point, obviously.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, to me, I'm looking at Jalen, and he's looking like this first year and a half that we saw him play, he looked like he was going to start trying to go for some of those Michael Vick rushing numbers early in his career, which eventually he ended up having to kind of taper it back too. I don't know that they let him get to that point. I think that as he gets confident running the RPO with all the weapons that we have, I think with Dallas Goedert emerging, I think that they're going to throw the football more. Which is why I say 36 or 37 is realistic. The bold part to me is jumping to the 4,000.
Noah, did you have a bold prediction?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple. I think on the offensive side of the ball, I think the following have 1,000 yards receiving this year. We'll go with Goddard, Smith, and Brown. Each have 1,000 or more receiving yards.
This guy's throwing for 6,000 yards.
Yeah,
Well,
there's 3,000 is going to be nice and easy.
There's 3,000 right there.
All right, there's
3K
3,000
right there.
Wes, can you give me 600?
And I think on the defensive side of the ball,
Guys don't 5,000 yards this year now.
Hassan Reddick.
Hmm?
Got Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham reached double digits in sacks.
Okay.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, there.
Really?
Is there a loss on the schedule, Noah? Do we see a loss?
Great year. He's got the quarterback throwing for 5,500 yards. He's got our DNs combining for the most sacks in football history as a tandem. Anything else?
And one guy's coming off an ACL or like a whatever, Achilles. Yeah.
And he's 33. Isn't he like 33, 34?
I don't want to give ages out.
There you go, Greg. There you go, buddy.
I think Brandon Graham turns back father time a little bit, at least for one more season.
Sounds like he's having a career year.
He's 34.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right, so 32. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
No, they're good ones.
Brandon Graham has never eclipsed 10 sacks in a year.
But he's doing it after an Achilles injury, so we're good.
Hey,
Oh, Jesus Christ, Noah. Pan the camera up. Pan the camera up, Noah.
What? Yeah,
No,
there you go.
This guy's rocking like this over here. Any other ones?
I got one. All right. I know Matt said it earlier in the chat. It was about one Mr. Gainwell. I actually do agree with his idea with Mr. Gainwell that he will lead all running backs in yards. And I think this will be the beginning of the end of the Miles Sanders era here in Philadelphia, as we're going to see Kenny take more of those snaps. So I have him leading in snap counts and in yards for running backs.
All right. Sorry, this one I wanted to read Booger Boy. Are the Eagles Super Bowl contenders? I think they are. What about you guys? I don't know, because you're going to tell me like, well, Tom, you said, part of your bold prediction is that they're in the NFC title game. So if they're in the NFC title game, they're Super Bowl contenders. I mean, that's what I would say back to myself after I said that. I just don't know. Listen, roster-wise, are they good enough? Maybe. Yeah, I think they're there roster-wise. It just comes down, like, if some of these bold predictions hit for the quarterback, then yes, I think they are a contender, sure. But I don't know. I don't know if they're a top 2 team in football. I don't know, because they have. I don't know. That's my biggest question.
Think of it this way: they may not necessarily have to be. It may just depend on the matchup, right?
Mm.
It may depend on the matchup.
Is Nick Sirianni ready to go win a Super Bowl? Is Jonathan
For
Gannon
me
ready to go
personally, I don't think so. But do I think if the matchup's right, do I think he can win an NFC title game? Sure.
It's so weird because, like, my mind keeps going to, like, okay, we have to remember everybody's kind of in year 2. but then everybody was in year 2 when we won it last time, pretty much.
Yeah.
And there's parts of this roster that I'm like, well, on paper, this defense is better than that was.
Mm-hmm.
The line might be better than it was. The weapons are better than what it was. It just comes down to, hey, for 85% of a season, a quarterback played out of his mind and the other guy played well enough in the end.
Right.
I'll go back to the word I used at the beginning.
Right,
Incompetence
then the backup in Foles came in and played out of his mind.
Incompetence is going to be what keeps this team from doing what it needs to do. It's not going to be for the lack of talent or anything like that. Incompetence. They, in my opinion, if they are not a playoff team, a division winner, a playoff winner, a playoff game winner, it's because of things they did to themselves.
Devlin, I don't know. I was high on the Doug Peterson hire. Doug Peterson, if you want to talk about camp news, Doug Peterson compared his football team in 2017 going into that year that they had the same amount of talent, if not more, than the teams he coached in Green Bay. So going into that year, Doug Peterson believed that he had a damn good football team on his hands. Nobody can say they thought they were Super Bowl contenders. We knew we were a playoff team. And like Noah just said, once you're in the dance, anything can really happen for the most part, okay? And the NFC as a whole, outside of when you look at the Rams, you look at the Bucks, right? And you say they're the 2 favorites right now on paper, right? Mm-hmm. But to what Noah said, I know Tom, how would you say you could beat the Bucks this year after what they did to you last year in Tampa? Because I think we're better. I think we're better than we were last year. So if I went to Tampa, could I beat them? Sure, I could beat them. And it doesn't necessarily mean, my quarterbacks led us to 30-plus points. You know what I mean? So, can I go to L.A. and beat L.A.? That's the one I don't know about, okay? Because they're so explosive. Tampa's a weird explosive to me still, right? They can be explosive, but they're a weird explosive. L.A. is better on both fronts too. In my opinion, they're better offensively, they're better than defensively than not only us, but Tampa too, right? I just think they are. Can we beat them? I guess, but I don't think we're better than them. So, but can we compete? This is so hard to talk about because we're just not. Look at the dog thinks we can just because we have this unknown at the quarterback position. It's not hating; it's just we don't know.
No, it's absolutely
those 2 teams know. St. Louis, L.A. Hell, God, rest in peace, St. Louis. Yeah, greatest show on turf again. But the Rams know what they have at the quarterback position. Hey, I got a pimp, right? Mm-hmm. Tampa knows what they have. Green Bay knows what they have. They don't know what the hell they have around them, but they know what they have, right? We think, hey, we got a roster that can compete with both of those 2 rosters, right? But can our quarterback?
Well, we kind of talked about this last week too, and it'll play into our game when we.
Because last thing, right? If you're checking, remember back in the day, you get the newspaper. Chrome, Greg, Noah, I know you guys definitely remember this, and they would give you the breakdowns in the newspaper, right? Mm-hmm. The offense gets his check, right? And it would be every Sunday you would open it up, and it would check it all off for you, right? Well, when you're checking that box, and when you're talking about competing for a Super Bowl, right? That's what we want to set our sights on, right? Which I think is unfair, but if we want to set our sights there, fine. But if you're checking the quarterback box and you're checking it one way and it's easy check, you don't even think twice check, you better be careful if you got your team then that isn't getting the QB check, if you got them winning that football game come postseason time. You just better be careful because more often than not, the check's going to go and the win's going to go where the check went, right?
Yeah,
in the playoff, most of the time. Okay, most of the time. That's not an every time thing, obviously, right? But the majority,
unless you're the Packers special teams,
when it's snowing against Jimmy G, who has a bad finger,
right, which clearly cost the Packers that game at Lambeau against the 49ers.
And Matt, sorry, we don't have a top 3 defense in football yet, right? That's also the other caveat to how you go kick somebody's ass that has the better quarterback is you got a top 5 defense walking around. Could it be? Like I said, I love the 2 additions we got from Georgia, and I think they're going to be a staple for the next 5 years here of what's going to be a really great defense. But in year one, they expect us to be top 3, I think is asking a lot. Top 10, absolutely. If they're not top 10, there's a problem. But top 3, top 5 would be, hey, we're way better than we thought, right?
Yeah.
I think it's unfair to say, hey, this defense is going to be top 3 in football. I think that's asking a lot.
From going from a team, or especially a defense last year where, the last 2 seasons, it was kind of alarming because this defense really bottomed out as far as skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know last year was kind of like bend, don't break. They didn't allow anything over the top, but they allowed everything, 10 yards or less, to happen. But to me, I think the moves that you made, this offseason, it doesn't so much tell me about what they're going to be right now, because to Tom's point, a lot of it's kind of projection. Hey, what kind of a jump or what kind of an impact is Jordan Davis going to have? I think that's kind of like the biggest example. Then you get to a Nakobe Dean, and the only reason why I slow my roll a little bit with Nakobe, it's just because, if this was a linebacking core of any of the years, the last 10, 15 years for the most part, it's like, Nakobe, you're going to have to play because it's you and Alex Singleton. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and who was the guy? Not Zach Wilson, the guy who used to be on Washington. That last
Zach Brown?
Zach Brown.
Brown band.
Who lasted like 4.5 weeks, and then he got cut, and we never saw him again. Like, we have some really solid to really good linebackers. Like, am I going to call them the best linebacking core in the NFL? No. In the NFC? No. Maybe not even in the division. But in comparison to what we've had, I look at what they did as, hey, this solidifies us as we're always going to have a floor, which is around, top 10, top 11, around that range of how bad our defense could be. We're never going to be as bad as we were the last couple of years just because we have too much young talent. What the Brandon Grahams, the Fletcher Coxes, because I think those 2 are question marks. Is Fletcher going to be what we've seen of him in the past? We really haven't seen the last couple of years. And is Brandon Graham not going to have a career year like Noah thinks? But, is he going to show any solidified signs of what he used to be? If they're what they are supposed to be, and in more case scenario is James Bradbury what we need him to be, then we could be talking about like top 7, top 5. But like we joked about this a couple weeks ago, like I don't expect this to be like 2015 Broncos defense where like they can get away with old man Peyton Manning not having a left arm working properly, and they get to a Super Bowl and they win the freaking thing. Like I don't think we're there yet.
Brock Lobster.
Yeah, they had freaking Brock Osweiler for half the year, and that's how good that defense is.
Hey, better than Peyton.
Casino Vargas says, but what if the linebackers play great? I think they're going to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think
a
that's
lot
like
better than years past. Absolutely.
Yeah, they didn't have any impact. It was just kind of like this is what a linebacker should do, but you would see it like 4 times a game. No, like I think the linebackers are actually going to have a presence. And it could come from a lot of different people, which is nice. You're not leaning on one person.
Right.
Did anyone have any more?
I got
one more.
Go ahead, Greg.
I was taken back by Noah's, of course, because that's what Noah does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Brandon Graham has as good as a year as Noah thinks. I think that guy is Josh Sweat. So I have Josh Sweat getting to double-digit sacks.
Uh-oh.
He's increased at least a sack and a half every year. If he increases a sack and a half this year, that puts him at 9. So it's just under. So I also – it's not a bold prediction, but I also think Derek Barnett has a really good year in a contract year. I just don't know that I could take him from like 2 sacks to 10, right? You know what I mean? I think Josh Sweat's bold enough trying to get 2.5 more out of him.
I mean,
but I think there's other things that'll help him out.
Noah, go ahead.
I got Barnett for 15 personal fouls.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I was not expecting where you were going with that one.
Oh, I knew where he was going, and he's right. He's absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
He's a new man into this year, guys.
With Greg's point, I made that bold prediction last year where I had Josh Sweat lead the team in sacks. Him and Javon Hargrave both tied with 7.5 sacks. And, sticking with sacks, not brought to you by Manscaped, my bold prediction is going to be the Eagles will lead the NFL in sacks in 2022.
That's a good one.
Where did they end up last year?
Especially
Do we know?
Especially with additions
second to
like a
last.
Ron
Were we that bad last year?
We had 29 sacks in 2021.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Every time you look up, everybody else has 10 plus sacks around the league, and no one in the Eagles has anywhere close to it, right?
And I think looking at, once again, going back to, hey, it's just preseason, but knowing how some of these, the offensive line were double teaming, triple teaming up Jordan Davis, and that create, once again, more opportunities for our other players to get those sacks. So that's why I kind of went
Absolutely.
with it. I think Fletcher, I think he's going to take a step up. Brandon Graham, coming off the Achilles injury, taking another step up. Kaiser Hassan, all getting some opportunities. So I think it's a good chance we could take
Top
that
three
step
defense.
back.
Who said it? Top three?
Yeah, sounds like it to me with that list. There's one I'm looking at, which I'll just say to go into my.
I'm with you, Casino. I got it, buddy. I got a ticket.
Yeah, it's not a good thing, Casino. Greg agrees with you, so you might want to retract fast, very quickly. If you bought a ticket, rip it up, delete all the evidence.
Set it on fire and do a seance.
I'll just do it that way. I can resort into my stereotype of what I like to do. I think the Eagles' go-to running back by season's end will be somebody that's not on the current roster.
You do love doing this.
Yeah.
I don't like our running backs. Like, I know I like doing trade machine and all that, and I do. It's the truth. But we all know our opinions on Miles Sanders. The guy's got to get on the field first for me to say he's reliable. I'm skeptical about Kenny, and Boston Scott's Boston Scott. Like, put him in against the Giants. He'll be a Hall of Famer.
Game against the Giants this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen, I know we've got him for those two. I'm looking forward to it. He's got it circled on his calendar. Absolutely. But if they are, if they are where we think they're going to be, one of the better teams in the NFC, division contender, maybe division leader, I honestly, one of their biggest weaknesses aside from the safety is I don't know what the reliability of the running backs are going to be. I just don't. So is that Jordan Howard coming back for the fifth time? Maybe.
Oh, my God.
Is that, the Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs thing becoming a reality? Maybe. I think if they're going to be in a position to improve a position group, one of the first ones and easiest ones to always do is running back.
Yep.
And again, I don't think, and I'm not asking for
right.
2017 Todd Gurley here. Like, I just don't like any of our running backs to where I think we need them to be.
Yeah. I think Miles has a really good year this year. I don't necessarily have I can make a bold prediction around him because I really do. Again, go look at everything that's going against him, and he's in a contract here, right? You know what I mean? He's fighting for another contract, whether it's here or somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to get a. Obviously, we know running backs don't get long-term deals anymore, right? So he's not going to get even a high dollar value deal if he doesn't have a good year. If I go bold prediction, he goes 1,000 yards.
Bold prediction for Sanders should be that he plays at least 15 games.
Yeah. Well, that's 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's got to play that, right? Because you're absolutely right. I mean, he missed 4 last year. I think he's missed 4 the last 2 years.
Miles?
Yeah.
No,
in each year.
So he's missed 8.
He's missed 4 in the last 2 years combined, or not combined, in each of those years. So yes,
he's
8 total.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he does have a good year. I mean, I don't know. Again,
listen, if he's healthy, he makes things a lot easier.
The way we're talking with these bold predictions, again, that's why they're bold predictions, right? They're fun. They're sometimes get outlandish and stuff like that. But he's in a contract year. He wants to prove that he's, he is still an elite running back in this league. And I think he does have a really good year.
Any more, Crow?
I have Nick Sirianni finishing top 3 in NFL Coach of the Year this year.
Wow, really?
Do you know who your other 2 are in that one? Like, do you have an idea of who he's going up against? It's okay if you don't. I was just curious if you thought it out.
Well, obviously, I think Vrabel's going to be back up there. I think Tennessee is going to continue to be a powerhouse in the
I mean, once you give it over to Malik.
in the AFC. I didn't really think about the other one. Maybe Zach Taylor, if they can repeat, if Cincinnati can come back.
It would be a bad one. I think they struggle again, but yeah.
I mean, if they can repeat, back to at least the conference championship game, I could see him being the coach of the year, simply bringing that team out of irrelevance.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
They're going to be good, but I think they're going to have a tough time getting back to the Super Bowl.
Chrome, what was your bold prediction? I'm sorry.
Nick Sirianni finishes in the top 3 coach of the year. Top 3 voting.
Yeah, I can buy into that.
My other bold prediction that ties in the Eagles, I said it the other night, I think Sunday I said it, or it might have been Wednesday, I don't even remember, but it ties into our division. I think Washington's better than the Cowboys.
Damn you.
And I believe it. I believe that's our biggest threat in the NFC East, and people are going to call me crazy, and that's completely fine. They're better. They're better coached. They have a better run game, in my opinion. Unless they're willing to give the ball to Pollard a lot, they got a better run game in Washington with Gibson. The quarterbacks have always been talked about against each other. I think Washington has a better defense. Again, on paper, Dallas has the bigger names that really stand out to you. But if Washington's front's healthy, they're going to be trouble with Ron Rivera. Their defense is going to be really good. I think they have enough weapons offensively for Carson Wentz. They do. They really do. When you talk about the addition of Doxson to go with McLaurin and Logan Thomas, I know he's coming off an injury, but he's a big weapon there. An extremely big weapon at tight end position. I think they're dangerous. I think they're the team that's not going to be talked about. Nobody's going to bring them up. Last year, they were the toast of the town, right? Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic. They were a playoff team the year before. Toast of the world last year, right? Nobody talked about us. Hey, how you doing, right? I think there's a similar thing that's going to happen when you talk about the Washington Commanders now. Do I think we win the division? I think we should be the favorite to win this division. I don't know what Vegas tells you, but in my eyes on paper, we are, because I don't think there's an elite quarterback in this division. And that's what gives you that edge, because Dak's not elite yet. You got to win playoff games to be elite at this level, right? Carson's the close thing that was elite for a minute, but that was a long time ago. Now, Carson wasn't the reason that the Colts didn't make the playoffs per se. We talked about it on Sunday, more the scapegoat because of his last game and a half. Okay, fine. All right. I think Washington, because listen, what you just did is, Chrome, I know you're going to agree with this. You just told a guy, this is your last chance. We talked about this on Sunday. When you're telling a guy last chance and it's his last opportunity to make or break as a starter in this league, man, I want to put many great athletes against put them in a corner and make a lion fight their way out of it, because that's what you're doing right now. I think the guy has a really good year. Do I think it's a 2017 year? No. I think he has a very good year, and very good is good enough with that football team and the talent around him there too, which isn't being talked about. Good enough to be a 10-win football team and be a wild card team, or be right here competing for a division. When you talk about us winning 11 or 12, if they're winning 10 or 11.
Yeah, I got the NFC East odds here for you real quick. This is from FanDuel, so it's as up to date as we can. Cowboys are plus 135 as the leaders. Eagles are plus 170. So real close. Mm-hmm. Commanders plus 500.
Dude.
And the Giants plus 700.
Dude, get on that plus 500 right now.
What's their over-under win total? 7?
Plus 500.
Who? Commanders?
Yes. Is it 7? 7.5? I agree. Tom, while Greg's looked at that, I completely agree with you. The Washington, whatever you want to call it, the 50 names.
8.5.
They lost so many one-possession games last year with putrid quarterback play. I don't think Carson's very good. Like, Carson's Carson. He'll be awesome for an hour, and then he'll suck for the next hour, right? Like, it's a roller coaster.
Hold on. I got to get back to this. 8.5. Our win total is 9.
And it's plus money.
Hold on. Our win total is 9.5.
Yes.
So they're plus 500 to win in division. We're plus 170.
Yeah.
What's Dallas's win-loss total?
10.5.
10.5. So they're one ahead of us. Those numbers don't add up right. If I'm Vegas, I made a mistake here. Because if I got them over under 8.5, and then plus 500 odds to win a division when they're only 2 games back from down. Oh man, listen, I'm not the greatest gambler of all time. Some things stick out to you. There's no reason to not toss a 50 spot on Washington to win a division. Hey, why not? This division's up for grabs, baby. It's up for grabs. And I said as the most diehard Eagles fan of all time, and every year I have us winning a division. Every year. Okay. And this year I have us winning 11 games. I think we do win this division, but man, I can see Washington winning it with say 11 wins, us getting to 10 and be a wild card. Either way, I think we make the playoffs. So just to take that out of the equation for me.
And here's the funny thing too: you look at us at over 9.5. Our odds are minus 130.
So they're telling you they're going over.
So they're telling you you're going over. Versus Dallas is 10.5. They're plus 105. And we talked about Washington at the 8.5. They were plus 145. So again, Vegas is telling you it's going under.
Dallas taking a step back too. Dallas is taking a step back.
I just don't think they're very good. And this isn't because I see Molly and we love Molly and all the Cowboys fans that time. It's not a F Dallas thing. Like I don't think that because I've picked the Dallas Cowboys to win the division the last 3 years. So I'm not above that by any means. I just don't. I think Dallas is the 3rd best team in this division. And like it's funny, Tom. My bold NFC East prediction was going to be that there's 2 playoff teams out of the division. And it's not the Cowboys. It's Washington who gets that final seed, and it's us.
Hey, let me look at something real quick. If you can take your time. I just want to – I mean, Michael Gallup, you're talking about you lose Amari Cooper, and now Michael Gallup's your 2. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That's a drop-off.
And he's coming off of injury, too. Major injuries coming off.
Yeah, I mean, so now CeeDee Lamb's your 1. So that goes from more weapons to less weapons. That's not going to make him better. All right, and then
he's still got the O line.
Another year.
But it's not as good. They lost.
Not as good. Yeah.
Their defensive line and offensive line have both gotten worse.
Yeah.
I mean, their offensive line. Listen, they got Smith. They got Connor McGovern. I mean, Tyler.
They lost Collins, not Smith. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Zach Martin. I mean, the only 2 big names they had still on that line are Smith and Martin. I mean, everybody else is new. Okay. Everybody else is new per se, right? Looking at their defensive line.
They lost Gregory. Gregory.
It's DeMarcus Lawrence with a side piece of Michael Parsons at times up there, right, in different spots. But, Durant Armstrong, Neville Gallimore, right? Them guys scary. I mean, Dante Fowler is part of their second team. I like Dante Fowler a little bit. When you look at their secondary, okay, Malik Hooker, good acquisition if he's healthy, right? I like Anthony Brown a little bit. And Trayvon Diggs is a playmaker. Right, but that defense, okay, their linebacking core is the strength of their defense. Anthony Barr, Van Der Esch, Michael Parsons. Give him a lot of credit.
I forgot Anthony Barr went there.
Anthony Barr's a great addition, right, guys? We can all agree on what's good additions and what's not. Now, if I go to Washington's real quick, when we're just looking over rosters, this is what we do, right? But I gotta believe on paper that they're just deeper. I gotta believe it. And almost deeper than us defensively. Okay, Chase Young back. Okay, he'll be back at some point. Deron Payne, we already know about. Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. All right, there's just the 4. Jamon Davis. I don't know how you say his name. Jamon, I would think it's not spelled that way, but that's fine. He's coming in the year 2. How good is he? Kendall Fuller, I think we all think is a really good corner in this league. William Jackson's other corner, not great safeties. Bobby McCann. Cameron Curl, right? They're just guys, right? But their front's really good. So that's a strength of their defense. And offensively, they're good. They're good, right? We talk about McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, Logan Thomas, and Antonio Gibson. Very good. J.D. McKissick's a good backup in this league. Their offensive line, again, that could be where they don't win a division, right? So that when you look at everybody up front, real quick, Ryan, then we'll go to quarterback game.
Yeah.
When you look at everybody up front, just look at it up front. Front 7, it's we win the defensive line matchup against Dallas.
Yes.
I think we're deeper and better than Washington, even though they're really good with their initial 4. I think we're better. I think our front 4/8 is better overall than theirs. I'll give us the nod. So right there makes a better football team. Offensive lines, it's not even up for debate when healthy. We have the best offensive line in the NFC, better yet, in the NFC East, okay? So when you start football teams, you look there, boys. We look there. That's why I think we're the leader in the pack to win this division. But right next to us, who's the next one that has an elite one or the other? Well, that's Washington. That's just Washington. It's not a shot at Dallas. Their defensive line is better than Dallas's offensive line. It just is. It just is better than their defensive line.
Yeah, Washington has been spending like the last 3-4 years really trying to rebuild their lines, both. Obviously, we know what they're capable of on defensive line, but their offensive line is the best it's been in quite a while. That might not be saying much because for about 2-3 years their defensive line was putrid. Their offensive line was putrid. But when you just look at the surface, we already know what the coach is. We know what the defense is, or at least what it's supposed to be. It's serviceable enough in the back end of the defense. And it's up there with the best weapons group around Carson Wentz that he's had in his career. Gibson, when healthy, is awesome. And McLaurin, Dotson, and Curtis Samuel, even though I don't even like Dotson that much, it's the best that Wentz has had. Mostly just because it's McLaurin and it doesn't really matter what else it is. And
like I don't think it matters what Wentz does. Really, I didn't think Wentz just can be Wentz like he was last year. They're better than Dallas. What does Dak Prescott want? With a lot. I mean, let's call what it is. He had a great offensive line. He had two pimps at the wide receiver position. He had what you would consider not me anymore, but a damn good running back. Mm-hmm. He's had all them things and hasn't won jack shit. So what makes people think now that Dak Prescott takes a huge step? I haven't seen the big step from Dak. I think he's good. I don't think he's great, right? And until he gets great, Molly, I don't know what to tell you, because look at Washington. Tell me you don't think they're a better football team overall. You have some big names. That's what you have. Defensively, you guys stink. You're Micah Parsons is what you are. You're Micah Parsons, and hopefully Trayvon Diggs picks right. You understand? Hopefully he guesses right when he wants to try to pick a football off. So simple as that. Like Mike McCarthy's always been a fraud. Okay, he'll continue to be a fraud. Ron Rivera's proven to be a damn good head coach in this league. I think they get back on track this year. I still think we win this division because look up front. You think Washington's front's better than ours, Molly? No, they're not. Right? You think Dallas's front's better than ours? No, they're not. You think their offensive side's better than ours? No, they're not. You think Washington is? No, they're not. So who's the big bad wolf, Mole? Us, baby.
Molly, I'll make you feel a lot better. I hope you both stink. I hope Dallas and Washington stink. I'll make you feel better. I hope you both suck.
Two things. One, I got one last bold prediction, but to your point with Washington, and it kind of tied into that whole coach of the year conversation. If Ron Rivera can get that team to double-digit wins and a playoff appearance,
got us there,
and get Carson Wentz to get it together finally between the years where nobody's been able to do it the last few years, that's your coach of the year right there. I don't care if it's a wild card or if it's a division win. That's number one. Number two, my last bold prediction, I think that both. So last year, Bradbury, 4 INTs, Slay 3. I think they combine in some form or fashion for 12 this year.
Yeah, we got J.C. Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, where we at? We got 12.
Yeah, that top 3 defense. Whoever said that earlier, it's becoming more of a reality based on
Crum did. I mean, Crum's got 5,000 total yards from the quarterback. He got 42 picks, 72 sacks.
Crum, are they winning the Super Bowl? Are they winning the Super Bowl, Crum? Because I don't know how they don't now.
No. Listen, it's not out of the realm. Slay's had 8 before in his career. I think adding Bradbury with him on the other side just is going to create even more opportunities for better matchups on both ends.
Sure. And their line will help them because there's going to be more pressure. There's going to be more quarterbacks on their heels.
I think there's going to be more opportunities to create turnovers. I think having a better linebacking core that's going to be able to also create some pressure up front for blitzing. That's going to force quarterbacks to make, inaccurate passes and make snap decisions. And I think it's going to put them in a good position to make plays. So combined, however it works out, whether they do 6 and 6, one goes 7, one goes 5, whatever. I mean, that it's not out of the realm of what they have done individually. Them two combined, I think, is going to be really special.
Listen, I agree with it. Molly, I agree with you. I mean, Jalen hasn't proven he can read a defense. So until that, but again, I'm having him win a division over guys that have never put it together officially in their careers. Like I'm putting it to both guys that were given the keys to be franchise guys, and only one has a ring, right? If you really talk about it, and he wasn't even playing in the playoffs, and the other guys, I mean, I think we got to call what it is. His numbers have looked good, but he's never. I don't think you can say Dak Prescott's lived up to his money or what he was essentially given the keys to be, which is elite.
Yeah, Tom, you and I were on the air together on a Monday when the contract came across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And we were both like, excuse me? And we get it. Like every quarterback who gets signed, he's going to create a new market and all that stuff. And in comparison to 5 years from now, that's going to look cheap. We all understand.
Wait, Steelers fan, why would I – wait. Further, I mean, I don't know if you can even say Dak's better than Carson. I mean, Dak was never like going to be a favorite to win an MVP. So like it's not even fair. Like one guy was going to be a unanimous MVP at the end of his season. At no point through 12 weeks has it ever been said for Dak Prescott. Never once. Good years, really good ones, sure, at times. But there's never been the case where Dak Prescott is being talked about a unanimous MVP 12 weeks into a year. Not one time. 6 weeks, 4 weeks, cute. That's cool. 12 weeks, never has happened. And if you show me where it's happened, you could come back and show me 4 weeks where he's played at an elite level. 6 weeks he's played at an elite level. He's never put it together for a full season, and nobody can tell me otherwise. His numbers might show because the first 6 weeks they're number one offense in football, and then they flounder. They go south or flutter. Sorry, flounder on my mind. I'm about to see.
I mean, Ryan's done a lot of shows with me over the years. I think if anybody here is a Dak Prescott backer in that argument, I've always argued I think that Dak is a better quarterback than Carson. That being said, that contract was astronomical, and he did not prove enough at that point. But like Ryan said, the market dictates every time a big-name quarterback's there, and especially if you have to keep your quote-unquote franchise guy, teams tend to overpay. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But I don't think anybody's sitting here saying we're jealous that, we're past Carson and we have Dak. First of all, whether he finished it or not, Carson got us in a position to win a Super Bowl.
I wasn't saying that he's better. I'm saying that they're right there. They are right there. I mean, to say Dak's better than Carson, I think is a little bit of egregious, and I think saying the other way is a little bit egregious. I think they're pretty close. There was a point of time where Carson was better. But there was a point of time where he was better.
But Dak.
Come on, stop. Yeah. When is Dak Prescott? What is Dak
won?
Like through 12 games of an NFL season, when was he going to be a unanimous MVP?
I'm just talking
his rookie
overall
season.
As a more reliable franchise.
12 weeks in?
Yes, his rookie season, yes.
12 weeks in. What was his numbers through 12 weeks?
Well, I mean, they were unbelievable.
Yeah,
numbers.
It was him and Elliott. They were like taking over.
It was like the most ridiculous, one of the most.
But that's not like that's not arguing for Dak because that was also what 6 years ago. So I'm just saying, like that is the season. If somebody's going to find a season where he was in that conversation, it was his rookie year. That's when they were like 13-3, and he came out of nowhere.
Okay, gotcha. So
I mean, last year.
And then Carson had the 2017, so it was back.
Yeah. So what about 2019?
10 INTs, 104 passer rating.
Okay, that's cool. What is in 2019?
Was as good as his rookie year, Ryan. Last year was actually better.
Yeah, and it got him nowhere. So in 2019, what were both their stats? I'm interested to see that.
Dak was 4,900 yards, 30 TDs, 11 INTs, a 99.7 passer rating. I'll give you Carson in 1 second. Carson was 4,000 yards, 27 TDs, 7 INTs, 93. Dak had a better year.
Yeah, but not by a lot there. I mean, talking about 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 picks, and he threw to me and you. Where the other guy threw to –
And Dallas that year in 2019 went 8-8.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just –
I'm just making the point. Like, Carson's never had, outside of 2017, even a sniff of what Dak's had skill position wise around him. I mean, when we're talking about that Dak's rookie year, the real MVP of that team was Ezekiel Elliott and the offensive line. His numbers might have put him in a conversation, but if anything, my point about unanimous is everybody's voting for one guy. There wasn't going to be a point in Dak's career where everybody was voting for Dak because you could split the votes in half by his own teammate in Ezekiel Elliott that year. What was Zeke's numbers that year? Probably in a conversation at MVP, right? But so in my point, in 2017, nobody was doing what Carson was doing. Like where, hey, everybody's voting for this guy. Like when that season ended, it was all going to be, you might have got 2 votes for different players, right? That's what I mean. That's my argument, which is so minuscule in the grand scheme of things, because they both had years where they've had great years, right? So they're right there with each other. Neither one's elite, right? Neither one's elite. Neither one is fully like put a body of work together of consistency in terms of playoff wins. That's where you get elite from. You've never once gotten elite from regular season numbers. That's why Lamar Jackson is not elite right now. You don't become elite until you win postseason games. That's the standard. That's the body of work that matters, right? Your regular season gets combined into playoff wins. That's how you can define the great ones. It's just the way it's been. That's the NFL quarterback position as a whole, right? And you can say, well, Tom, what about Justin Herbert? He doesn't want a playoff game. He's also 2 years in the being in the league. When you're talking about Dak and Carson, right now is when they're supposed to be playing their best football, right? Right now. And neither one officially has put it all together. If that equals, hey, I've had good regular seasons, but I get knocked out in the playoffs, right? Or I've had great regular seasons, I don't make the playoffs, right? Neither one has. So that's my whole argument is neither one you can really say is like, oh, this guy's better right now. Now.
They're in a category where, and it's a great argument. We've had it for years, and it seems like as long as they're both in the same division, we'll have it until the end of time. But like there are people, not anybody in here, and like it's a good convo, especially for a show, but there are people that will argue for like a week straight on this. And I sit back and I'm like, okay, that's fun. But they're in the same category where they could be good, but they're not good enough. Like Carson Wentz, at this point in his career, he's shown that he could be great, but also he's on his 3rd team in 3 years.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott has been really good. He was an offensive rookie of the year or flat out rookie of the year, back in 2016.
Yeah,
but he has one playoff win. So it's like, yeah, they both have their own things. They both have flashed, quote unquote. But what does it amount to? One total playoff victory, and the other guy's on his 3rd team.
In 6 years, right? 6 years.
Yes.
Right.
Here you go. I have the stats. I have the compared to each other, so I can read them real quick. The games are the same, 85-85, right? So you got Dak 53-32, and you got Carson 44-40-1. Yardage 20.
What was that? Touchdowns?
No, that was their QB record. Their records.
Okay. Yeah.
Dak's 22,083 yards. Carson's at 20,000 yards, 374. Dak 143 TDs to 140. Dak 50 INTs, 57 for Carson. And then if you go to the rushing, Dak's at 1,460 yards for 25 tutties, and Carson's at 1,276 for 9 tutties. But if you go to playoffs, as Ryan just said, Dak's 1-3-1. Oh boy.
Oh.
And Carson's only got 1 loss because he's only played 1 game. So the stats are really close.
Yeah, sweeps. Yeah, he turns the football over like nobody's business, Carson. But I think they're very similar in terms of what they are and what they were expected to be. Like Dak wasn't expected to be that until he showed his rookie year. Like, oh wow, this guy's on fire. Blah 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 blah. Well, he hasn't been able to get back to that type of explosion, and he's had the weapons to do it. That's a crazier thing. Like, okay, yeah. Carson had the best running back in football last year. Okay, good, right? But he had CeeDee Lamb and Cooper. When you have both of those guys and you're not getting it done,
and Zeke and Pollard.
Yeah, I just leave those 2 guys out of it because I don't even need to go there. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about throwing the football. Like, at some point, you need to get over a hump, and he has not. So to say Dak is, like, better than Carson or vice versa, I just think is, like, crazy. Because, again, if you want to make an argument one way, you can say Carson's better because there's a point in time that was actually closer where he was elite for a second.
It's
where
Tom,
Dak was in 2016. Carson said, "Hey, I'm elite in 2017." So showed he was elite with less. Right, that's the whole point. Like he had a very good offensive line in 2017, obviously, but that Dallas O line in 2016 was a problem too.
Yeah.
We both had really good O lines. He had a better running game. I don't know who his wideouts were in 2016, but I'd venture to say they were probably pretty good ones. He probably had Dez.
I saw Dez.
It was Dez. Who was the second?
It was Dez. I know he had like Cole Beasley at one point as one.
Oh yeah, it was Beasley as the 2, and then Jason Witten. I don't know what that means. I mean, he was like 50 by then, but still.
Okay, we're just talking about the division and winning it, or who's going to be better. So we got into a quarterback argument.
It's Tom. It's funny.
Yeah, it was Cole, Dez, and Terrence Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, Mo, shut up. You said we didn't have wide receivers in 2016. Okay, Mo. Okay.
Go look at what we've had. What we've been stuck with. Okay.
Yeah.
Jen, Mo.
By the way, he just got cut and picked up by the Packers, so you see the level of desperation they're in, that they got to pick up Travis Fulgham. The Packers picked up Travis Fulgham.
Yeah, Steelers fan, just to riddle you something, the owner doesn't play. So to blame the owner for them not winning a Super Bowl in however long, I mean, with all due respect, I'm not a Jerry Jones guy, but he doesn't play. So he was able to win Super Bowls when they could spend money and spend more money than everybody. There's a reason there's a cap in football now. Okay, and that's because of a guy like Jerry Jones, one of the smartest businessmen ever. Had Pepsi and Coke in the same stadium. The same stadium. Nobody could do that. Nobody could do what he did. They were in a bidding war on locations inside that stadium. Jerry Jones, one of the smartest businessmen of all time, and he could outspend you, right? And that's why the Cowboys could go out and plus they drafted extremely well, and it was a different time. But he's not holding them back. Come on, they've had really good football teams, and they haven't been able to win playoff games.
After we do our game, Tom, it's funny we're talking about this because, like, I want you guys to react to a list that I made when we were like, I was setting all this stuff up. Because one of these two quarterbacks I have 12th in the league, the other one I have 18. So, like, I'm just interested to see like where you guys have them, at the end of this game, and then obviously when you see the list in a little bit.
2018 Blue City Empire.
Yeah.
2018 is when he got his one win against the Seahawks.
But let's do this.
And then lost to the Rams the next year.
All right, we're going to go to the game. All right, before we go to the game, our little QB game is brought to you by Gleason's Bar. They're located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. Use our promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online. Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com is where you can find them. Make sure you're using our promo code A2D when you go in there, family. Located right in Levittown, Gleason's Bar, 10% off your order just using our promo code A2D.
Deliciousness, too. Absolutely deliciousness.
So what I want everybody to make sure they do, keep track of your lists at home. We're basically going to go every starting quarterback in the league, and we're going to say whether we would have Jalen Hurts or the quarterback we're going to name, and it's just for a season, okay? So we don't have to be like, oh, well, Tom Brady's 45. It's just for this season. And then just keep track where you have them ranked in the NFC, AFC, against AFC teams, and then overall. So we'll start right here in the division. Would you rather have Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Okay. Would you rather have Daniel Jones?
I got him top 5 MVP. Don't I have to kind of take?
Listen,
I'm taking
that's
Hurts.
your problem. That's your problem, Greg.
I mean, my thing is of what I think they're going to be this year. Am I taking it as of how they finish this year or going into the year?
It's who would you rather have quarterbacking your team? It's that.
I'll take Jalen Hurts this year.
Yeah, Hurts.
I'm taking Dak.
Dak.
I'm going Dak.
Yeah, I'm going Dak.
I think that's like one of the easier ones.
And I just smoked them for how
long? Frank?
I too took Dak.
Okay. Daniel Jones or Jalen Hurts?
Hurts.
Hurts.
I will take Hurts over Jones.
I purposely saved this one for last in our division. Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
I also have Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
Sorry, Carson. It's Jalen.
Yeah, sorry, Carson. Going with Jalen.
I just can't watch. I can't watch Carson again. I can't do it again.
He didn't have a bad year last year either. Like if you look stat wise, he just came up small in the biggest. You just can't lose this to Jacksonville there.
You can't.
You just can't lose.
Jacksonville in week 17.
You can't throw it left-handed to an opposing defender on the 2-yard line. And I know it wasn't that game, but still.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was week 14. Tom's still thinking.
It's tough.
Oh, I think they're right next to each other.
It is
I think it's one's ahead of the other one by like one. In the grand scheme of things.
Like that shouldn't be a quick answer for anybody on this one. You know,
I knew it was coming, so that's why I was quick. I knew it was coming.
I mean, we remember 2017 and what he was before he got hurt, but
And we
boy, has he really regressed in the last 4 years.
Yeah, he just hasn't been the same since 2017, and that's what kills me.
I just don't know what this guy is.
Fair.
I guess give me Hurts for right now. I don't like making that pick. I think you get whatever day you catch me on, you're gonna get a different answer out of me.
Okay, we move to the West. Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts?
Kyler Murray.
Agreed.
Call of Duty, Kyler.
I'll take Kyler. Although I'm not the biggest Kyler fan, Kyler just is better currently.
I'm going to take Kyler.
Jalen.
Wow. Okay. So I was going to say, you're going right to Jalen. By the end of the year, and on this year alone, for a lot of the reasons you guys mentioned earlier, with who he's not going to have to start the year, a lot of question marks, I do think that Jalen, by the end of the year, will rank higher for this season than him. I'm not saying that's going forward, but I would take Kyler right now over him.
Matthew Stafford. This should be
Stafford.
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Ryan, because you know me and Matt Stafford, but I got to give respect where it's due. I got to go Matt Stafford here.
Yeah, it's Stafford, not even close.
Stafford.
Geno Smith. Geno Smith.
Jalen.
It'd probably be Drew Lock, but Jalen, yeah.
I almost just put Seahawks quarterback because I think
either one.
Yeah, I'm gonna put. I'm gonna factor both in there. I'll take Jalen over both.
Jalen.
And finally, and this I understand we haven't seen him, but it's all based off projection, I guess. Trey Lance.
Jalen.
Yeah, I'd have Jalen.
Yeah.
Jalen.
Okay, we're halfway done the NFC, so make sure everybody's keeping track of where they have Jalen. Aaron Rodgers.
A-Rod.
Rodgers.
Give me Ayahuasca guy.
A-Rod.
Aaron.
Justin Fields.
Jalen.
I'll take Jalen.
Jalen.
I had to think about this.
Jalen.
I'm still going Jalen. Kirk Cousins.
Cousins.
I agree.
Although I already have it booked week 2. You know, coming to Philly primetime, you know, Kirk's not winning, but I got to give it to Kirk.
Does anyone have Jalen against Kirk, or is it all okay? So
I have Jalen.
Oh, you had Jalen. Okay.
What? What happened?
I knew that would bring him back.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Would you stop it? Oh my Lord, I can't.
I do think it's kind of close. I have Kirk, but I do think it's
close. It's close, but I give the slight nod to Kirk. Slight.
Jared Goff.
Jalen.
I'm looking at you, Chrome. I know. I'll just move
Jalen.
on.
Sorry,
Chrome.
Don,
You don't even have
Don.
to say it. And then finally in the South, if you didn't already know from everything you know about him and the playoff game last year, Tom Brady.
Brady.
Go ahead, Chrome.
Brady.
He couldn't get it out.
Brady.
Get it out.
Brady. Baker Mayfield or Jalen?
Baker.
Jalen.
No, I'm kidding. I'm going Jalen.
I'm
I'm
gonna
going-
because I have no idea where Carolina's going to go. I'm going to put Jalen on over both Baker and Darnold.
It's
Do it,
official.
Tommy.
It's Baker.
Oh, it's officially Baker. Then it's still Jalen.
Yeah.
Do it, Tom. He was your son at one time. Do it. Don't just throw him out on the street like that.
It's hard when a guy's like dealt, and then they give another guy like 200+ million in massages. You know what I mean? The take that guy, but screw it. I think it's another baby in the corner. Give me Baker. I'll take him this year over Jalen.
I do think it's close, especially because of I can't forget what Baker did with that Browns team. And again, like if I were to say, hey, who would I rather have on this Eagles team currently constructed? I do think this Eagles team shares a lot of traits that Browns team had, where they beat the Steelers and all that stuff, and they went far in the playoffs. But with that being said, I just hate him. I hate Baker, so I'll go Jalen. I just don't like him. But I do think it's close, just based off of skill. Mariota.
Jalen.
Jalen.
If this was 2018, I'm going Mariota. I just want to put that out there. And Jameis Winston.
Jalen.
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 I also have Jalen. Okay, so in the NFC, where is Jalen ranked? How many quarterbacks did you say were better than him in the NFC?
I got 6, so I have him at 7.
I have 6, and I have Jalen at 7 as well.
In no particular order, I have Dak, Kyler, Stafford, A-Rod, Kirk, and Tommy.
I have him 5.
All right, so you have him top 5 in the NFC. I have him 7. Tom, what did you say you had?
I don't remember, but I think it's like 7 or 8.
Okay. So with that exercise, it's a good window. There's not a ton of world beaters in the NFC. There's really not. Then you go to the AFC.
Yeah.
Let's just start in the West.
Well, hold on. Before you even start that, understand something. If we got them 7, 8 over in the NFC, does that really make us a contender?
I think it does in a sense.
A contender for
Well, 6 makes the playoffs, right?
7.
7.
7 make the playoffs. So if we have them 7, and then those that have them 7th, in theory, that's your one of your playoff teams, right? Some
that's
of them,
not even factoring
like
in
Chrome's got them 5.
And we're not factoring in defenses, and we're not.
And you
really
surround them with an excellent roster and possibly a top 5 defense.
defense,
To me, that
Offense.
Equals
coaching,
a division.
all that's off the board. Absolutely makes them a playoff contender.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I think I have Kyler and Dak.
maybe
both
even
better
a
than-
playoff winner.
I have Kyler and Dak better than him, but I think our roster and our team are better than both of them.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're better than the Cowboys, and I think we're better than the Cardinals. So that's why we boot. We
Yeah,
bump up.
I didn't know. I just think more of like he has to be a top 4 to 5 quarterback numbers wise in the NFC if we're really looking to get to like a 12-win mark. Makes sense because we're factoring in. We're factoring in the rushing. We're factoring in the running touchdowns. We're factoring all that stuff into it. I just think, which it could be. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it can't be. I'm just saying our early rankings of it put them sort of on the outside of that, which then goes to our point. For us to be the football team we want to be, right? He has to be 5 or above in his numbers when it all ranks out at the end of the season for us to be 11, 12-win football team. I think that's so important. That doesn't have to be crazy growth. That just has to be enough growth, right? That's it.
Eugene, with all due respect,
Hey, Eugene, what has Jameis Winston done that's been so great in the NFL?
did he
Not
just
stealing
tear
crab
his ACL?
legs.
I hear he's real great with Uber drivers.
Yeah, he couldn't see for the first 3 years of his career. He went 30-30, okay? Not the good 30.
Not baseball.
No. And he's
He
coming off
did
of a
this.
major injury. Listen, if Jameis could figure it out,
No, we don't want it. We got the Saints pick this year. We don't want Jameis
Well-
to figure it out.
don't get me started, Greg, but it's not – they already screwed us because Kamara's not getting suspended. So, that's the
That's
biggest thing. The fact that he's not getting suspended and we're going to wait a year, we're just going to be like, wait until the Eagles don't have their pick, then we can suspend them.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis is is okay. He's a stopgap. You know, he's almost in the conversation of like a Mariota stopgap at this point. They're stopgap guys. You know, they're till we find our next guy. The guys are like serviceable, right? That's what you call those types of quarterbacks. Like, you know, I'm not going to bring Baker back into this, but like if you're talking about like upside in quarterbacks, like with a guy like Baker, he still has an upside because he hasn't had that long of a career yet. We talk about Mariota, Winston. You know, they've been around for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, they sort of proved what they are. Where like you know, where I still give Baker the doubt just to bring him into the combo is he did win a playoff game, right? Or went to a playoff game. I don't remember if they even won it. I think they did. But either way, like he's been there, and last year he's hurt. You know, he's banged up. So what is he, right?
Yeah.
What is he? Those guys, you sort of know what they are. How's it a lazy narrative?
Terrible system. He had
Terrible
freaking
Tom
Mike.
Brady won
Yeah,
it.
Mike Evans.
Tom Brady won with that same exact team.
Chris Godwin, really good defense. What are you talking about? They literally
Jesus.
went from one of the worst teams in the NFL, went to Tom Brady, and it's like, here you go. I'll handle this.
Jameis is okay. I don't understand what the uproar is if you think if you'd rather have Jalen Hurts this year than Jameis Winston off a torn ACL. So I mean, I'm just
an injury.
Yeah, I mean, throw it into the matter here, guys. This isn't Madden. He's not coming out with a clean bill of health. Like, I mean, he is, but he's still coming off a torn ACL. So we're gonna take him over a guy that's coming into the year without an injury.
And let's be real, Andy Dalton might win the job anyway.
Yeah, it's gone down.
So it might be Andy Dalton. I mean, let's just call it what it is, too. He's there.
Okay, Saints were 5-2 before he went down. They had a lights out defense.
And Alvin freaking Kamara.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Jameis is fine. Like, could they quietly be a better football team than what they say on paper? Sure, but I think we're getting a little carried away if we're like saying, how do you unanimously take Hurts over Winston?
Yeah, you would have thought we would have said Josh Allen wasn't better than Jalen Hurts. It's like, all right, everything's fine. Speaking of that, Greg, did you say you wanted us to start in the West?
No, I was just kidding.
I was going to say, you want to make it real easy? Is there any quarterback in the AFC West that you would rather have Jalen Hurts over?
No.
Chrome, you take a Jalen over Herbert? Are you thinking about that actually?
Oh my God.
He's trolling. He can't be serious.
Okay. I don't know anymore. I just don't know. Okay, let's quickly move on before we have to do that. Josh Allen. Hurts.
Yeah,
Allen.
take Josh.
Allen.
Zach Wilson or Jalen Hurts?
Hurts.
Hurts right now.
Yeah,
Jalen
Hurts.
I think Wilson ends up being a bust.
I love the moxie from Zach Wilson. Love it. Love it, especially the offseason moxie. Love it.
Looking for hot, lonely single mothers in your area. You know a guy? Go to Zach Wilson.
Yeah, if you need a working knee, don't go to Zach Wilson. Mac Jones.
Who?
Patriots quarterback.
I'll take Jones right now.
Yeah, I like Mac.
I'll go Jalen.
I got Jalen.
Noah?
Mac.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna take Jalen over Mac, but not by much.
And I think a debate that will be going for as long as these two guys are in the NFL: Jalen or Tua.
Jalen.
I am not a Tua
Jalen.
guy. I'm taking Hurts over Tua. Once again, by not much.
What's good, Jinx?
Hi, Jinx.
What up, Jinx?
Jalen or Mitchell Trubisky?
Jalen.
Mitchie Poo. No,
Jalen.
You know what's funny? I think they're kind of similar. Like, I think they have similar games and weaknesses, but Jalen. Should I even say the Cleveland Browns guy?
I'm going with Jalen. I'm not taking on the headache right now.
Yeah.
It's not even on a pure skill level. I'm just not taking the headache right now.
Exactly. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, but how do you? Yeah, how do you rank it though? Because this 6 games. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I have him
it's-
one. If I did an actual ranking, I have him one spot behind Jalen Hurts.
yeah, it's tough.
And really, again,
right.
there's people I think that are above him, and then he's on the fringe because the drop off to me behind them is astronomical.
Mhm.
I just can't take him for the headache over him. I just can't do it. That's just me.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
Yeah.
We're factoring coming off of injuries and everything else. I got to factor in massages and everything else.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I mean, you're missing 6 games. You have to factor that in.
Yeah.
If
But
you
then,
don't factor-
but then there's
like,
a chance it could be longer than that. That's the other
Absolutely
thing
true.
too.
If there was no suspension, if we're just like, if this is last year or 2 years ago,
we'd be having a different conversation.
Right.
then it's I think it's very easy the other way. But when you factor in the suspension and everything, it makes the decision a little different.
Yeah, like when I have like my overall ranking and I just took talent into it, like I tried my best to take everything else. I had Deshaun Watson 10. But also it's like the obvious stuff. He's going to miss time, and also he hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah, we don't know what we're going to get from him either.
Exactly.
Like before all this went down, he's probably top 5 for me. But then life happened, and a few hundred massages later, we are here.
Well, he was top 5 then, but then we also
Yep.
the Joe Burrows and Justin Herbert's in the league either at that time.
Yeah.
Who are guys that I
Wait,
think
not every massage therapist gives happy endings.
Oh boy.
apparently not.
On that note, let's move on.
No, I got. I'll take Hurts. I'll take Hurts for this year, if it's strictly based on this year alone.
Let's see.
Lamar.
Mr. Burrow.
Lamar.
Joe
Burrow.
JB.
And the final division in the NFL, Tannehill or Hurts?
Hurts. Greg's thinking.
Hurts.
Well, no, because I mean,
I'm thinking too.
it's a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Tannehill just wins, whether he's.
Derrick Henry wins.
Oh yeah, but that helps.
They still won football games without him. They get themselves into the playoffs.
Then I go to Mike Vrabel wins. Like I'm so anti-Tannehill.
No, I'm not. But they're similar. Like they're
Very similar. They're very similar.
They're so similar. I mean, it's like this. It's like a copy. It's like a mirror image.
I think the difference is one guy's about 10 or 12 years older, and another guy still has the ceiling to learn.
I think it's the legs. I just think one guy can move.
That's a big difference too. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna
Tannehill's not a statue by any stretch.
He's not, but he's not Jalen Hurts either.
I'm not saying he is, but Hurts also isn't Lamar Jackson. So there's these levels to that, right?
Nobody picked Lamar over him.
No. I'm just giving the levels of his legs.
Yeah.
Like his legs are good. They're not elite.
Yeah, like if we're doing like Tannehill's legs, we'll give it like a solid C-.
I'll go Tannehill.
Hurts probably a B plus. Lamar,
Kyler Murray and Lamar are A's, right? Like the way they skeet around. Hurts is that second ceiling, and Tannehill's was like right at that second ceiling because he used to run more, but he's sort of like right there. So it's just like, which one do you think can throw better? I don't think either one's great from the pocket. Tannehill's probably better just because he's more seasoned with doing it, even though he's not great at it. It's a tough one. It really is. I mean, I like Chrome said, there's more upside, like because we don't know Hurts. So I'll give Hurts the slight edge there just because we don't know. And there's a chance of him being better, like growing still, where Tannehill is what Tannehill is.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Tannehill on this one. I'm not a big fan of Tannehill, but very slight edge for me on this one.
That's okay, Frank. I don't think that's.
I'll take Tannehill if we're just talking one season.
Yeah, I don't think this is crazy.
Davis Mills or Tannehill or
I'll take Jalen over any Texans quarterback at this point.
I think Davis Mills, showed he could play a little bit in his rookie year in a bad situation, but I'll take Hurts for sure.
Yeah,
definitely Hurts.
Yeah, Davis Mills showed he's better than Daniel Jones. That's about it. 2 more. Matt Ryan.
Hey,
or
speaking
Jalen
of that,
Hurts?
real quick. Hey,
Yes.
Ryan, do you think under
Hey.
Brian Dable, you think Jones shows any improvement?
Well, it's not. He's already at the floor as far as like he could just show signs of life. Like he could just be alive, and I feel like he would improve a little bit. Yes, slightly, but not enough to be their quarterback going forward. I'll give you that.
All right, fair enough.
Instead of him being the 32nd worst, I say he's the 27th worst. I'll do that.
I got you. So no major improvements there.
No, I mean, listen, I hope Daniel Jones stays there for another 10 years because that means I don't think Giants are winning much. So I'm rooting for him to be just good enough to stay, but bad enough not to be any good. Matt Ryan or Jalen Hurts?
Matt Ryan.
I'll take Matty Ice.
Jalen Hurts.
This is another tough one.
Matt Ryan.
I'm going Matt Ryan.
I'll go Matt.
Reasoning, Chrome?
I still think that Jalen could make strides forward. I think Matty is going to hit the wall sooner or later, whether it's now or it's later. But he's approaching that point where this could be the year where the floor falls out on him.
And finally, Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts?
Right now, Jalen Hurts, but I actually think this is I do like Trevor Lawrence's.
I'm taking Trevor Lawrence over Jalen Hurts. So I don't think that's even up for debate.
Trevor.
If I'm putting Trevor Lawrence on this team, I got aspirations then. If I'm putting Trevor Lawrence in this situation, I'm absolutely taking Trevor Lawrence because everybody I'm deciding on is me putting him on the Eagles right now with this football team, and that's how I'm deciding. And if I can put Trevor Lawrence in year 2, with these weapons, this defense, etc., we come into this year feeling a lot even more excited than we would be with Jalen Hurts, and that's a fact. And I know people are going to question him and. Yeah, he had an up and down rookie year. That's what happens rookie years. But let's all remember something. I mean, this guy was a can't miss. So, 1 year is just your growing pains. But I think that guy has a monster year too, especially with getting an offensive-minded guy like Doug down there. I think it helps him.
And he's getting his running back too. ETN's back.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge help.
But Lawrence here
for this year, I still say Jalen, but I think Trevor will be much improved this year.
But if you put Trevor on the Eagles, you still taking Jalen though? Swap him out.
I'm still taking Jalen. I'm still taking Jalen just for this year.
Wow.
Just for this year.
Wow.
But I will say this I think Doug will definitely work with Trevor, and I think Trevor could turn into a Pro Bowler in 2 or 3 years.
So I'm going to read you guys this, okay? And it's Tom. It's funny you brought up.
Take Jalen over Sunshine. So
okay. Sorry, it's funny that you mentioned like you're judging it based off of hey, just plug this guy in on this Eagles roster. So. I listed basically, I did a full ranking. And Chrome, I think you said you did as well. I'm going to just read you the order, and you tell me if there's anything egregious that pops out, okay? And obviously, like, there's going to be some that's kind of like you can move around or whatever.
Yeah, real quick. Cal, that's a different situation. Like, one guy's drafted number 1 overall with the potential to be elite, where the other guy's drafted in the 2nd round. Like, okay, Jalen had ups and downs his rookie year. Or his first time as a full-time starter.
Yeah.
But he's also was in a better situation. And we're going to say, like, you can't compare their ups and downs. Like, you can't talk about a guy who was number 1 overall in a bad situation who was supposed to be, who's come out of college being the guy and talk about his ups and downs compared to a guy in a better situation and his ups and downs. Especially a guy that was in year 2. You know what I mean? Jalen was in year 2 last year. Let's not forget this. That was year 2 of an NFL player. Trevor Lawrence was in year 1. I mean, some of the greats of all times had bad year 1s. So,
So my number 1 quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Then I go Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers at 3, Joe Burrow, and then Tom Brady at 5. Any big disagreements so far?
Yeah, gigantic one.
I have
think
Allen
Burrow
1
4.
and Mahomes 2.
Got a gigantic one.
Okay.
I might have missed him. Did you even name Matthew Stafford?
No, not yet.
I got him at 6.
Yeah, I can't put Joe.
I have him at 7.
Yeah, I just can't put Joe Burrow, who he just beat. I can't put him over him right now. Joe Burrow is a stud, right? But I can't put him over what Matthew Stafford has spun around and slung around in his career. Like Mahomes, fine. Brady, fine. That's my only disagreement is I think what he did last year and what he proved coming into this year, Matthew Stafford has to be somewhere in the top 5. And if that's 5th, fine, but he has to be. It's if you don't, we're almost saying like, hey, you got out of Detroit where you listen, you had no problem putting up numbers, right? So were those numbers hollow? Okay, we don't know. Now you go to LA and you win year 1. You proved to the world that none of your numbers were hollow. You were just in a dumpster fire of a situation your whole career. Right? Yeah, you're in football purgatory. The fact that he went there and won year 1, which is already hard enough to do in year 1, the fact that he did that, he absolutely jumped Sparrow, who obviously has a tremendous upside and one day will be in the top 5. But Joe Burrow, after 1 year, well, 2 years, but 1 year, like great. He's still got room to get up there. I got him like probably I'd have to look at the list, but probably I had Burrow. Like that's my only, and it's not a big knock. It's just I had Burrow probably 7 or 8. I just can't put him top 5 yet because I got to do a little bit of this off a body of work too, right?
Well, the only reason why I have Burrow that high, other than he's awesome, is because it's putting him on this Eagles team behind the best offensive line in football, arguably, which is the complete opposite of what it was with the Bengals. So that's why I put him up that high. You know what I'm saying?
But I would also think if I put Matt Stafford behind this line, he might even have more of a field day because he had
a top 3 offensive line last year, so that's why it's like there's not that much of a. And again, I have him different.
I think Burrow had a steeper climb last year to get to that point, and they still almost pulled that game out.
Listen, nothing saying a steeper climb or this, that, and the third. Joe Burrow is a stud, but if we're putting Tom Brady top 5, we're obviously doing it off of a body. We're also doing it off of a body of work too, right? It's not just what you did last year.
Tom Brady can still be that guy too.
I think he can too, but at 40-something years old, to constantly put him up there, part of it's the body of work too, because you're expecting it. Make sense? Like with Matt Stafford, I'm expecting those numbers year in, year out. With Joe Burrow, you still got to do it again. Like
a swim tight.
I think he's going to be phenomenal, right? I do. Okay, but coming off a Super Bowl loss, can you do it again? Can you do it again? I don't know. I believe he can because he's been a winner his whole life. But Stafford's done it every single year. And with worse offensive lines than you can even imagine that Joe Burrow had, and he still put up numbers. Now going to Super Bowl, no. But sometimes you get a little lightning in a bottle too, right? Where everything goes well. Like he just got to get in the top 5. He has to do it again. Not go to a Super Bowl. Not go to a Super Bowl. Just replicate your numbers again. That's all. Like replicate it again and prove you can do it. Because this obviously has a little bit in my rankings has a little bit to what you just did, but also what I'm expecting because you have the body of work to prove it. Like I expect Stafford to, unless he gets hurt, to be lights out again. Like it's just expected. If I put Stafford on the Eagles, let's go. I'm expecting to win a Super Bowl. If I put Burrow on the Eagles, I'm expecting to get the 1 too. But I have way more confidence if Matthew Stafford flew in today than I would if Joe Burrow flew in today. Just for this year, right? Just for this year, I would say, hey, I clear cut favorite. Where Burrow, I'm like, oh my God, is he going to have a letdown? You know, like is he going to have a Super Bowl loss hangover?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this is another argument you could have too with Herbert.
Well, Herbert, I think they're both great. Herbert, I can't put over Burrow. Herbert's never won a playoff game. Like Herbert's awesome. Herbert might be freaking 2 by the end of the year, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like I get it, but I'm saying that's another argument you could have with having Burrow 4, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. My next 5. Okay, so just recapping because like saying like Burrow's not better than Allen. I agree. I have Allen too. I had Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, Burrow, Brady. That was my 5. My 6 through 10, I have Stafford, Herbert, Wilson, Lamar, And like I said earlier, if we're taking all of the stuff out, right, which is hard to do, just based off of the quarterback, I have Deshaun Watson 10. Are there any massive agreements there with that 5?
I did Stafford, Lamar, Kyler. I'm sorry. Stafford, Lamar, Herbert, Kyler, Wilson.
Oh, yeah. So you just subbed in Kyler for Deshaun. That's the only difference between you and I.
Yeah.
No,
the 6 through 10.
I also moved
Other than what we've already discussed, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, the Stafford top 5, Herbert potentially as well. No, I mean, the top 10 are there.
My 11 through 15. I'm sure this will piss some people off in the chat. That's fine. This is where it kind of gets. This is where a lot of guys are kind of the same. So you can make an argument. I have Kyler Murray at 11, Dak Prescott at 12, Derek Carr at 13, Matt Ryan at 14, Kirk Cousins 15.
I mean, just off the cuff. Off the cuff. Ryan seems high, but not egregiously.
Right.
I just think he would be excellent. Like it would be the first time in years where he doesn't have to run for his life. If I put him on this Eagles team,
Yeah.
and then the weapons.
Like I said,
disgusting.
it's not egregious, right? I might be thinking like 3-4 spots, right? It's not like oh my god, I can't believe you have him there. You know what I mean? But that's just off the top of the head.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like if there aren't any like egregious, like, oh my god, how do you have them there type thing? I feel like I did a good job. So we're doing okay so far.
Yeah, and the other one I think, and again, this kind of goes back to the body of work and kind of the ups and downs. Carr seems a little low to me. You know what I mean? I know, like we were all entertaining the idea of putting Derek Carr behind this, behind this engine and rolling with it and being okay. But yeah, it's not egregious.
All I know is I have Jalen Hurts ranked as the 19th quarterback from our little fun game here. So,
Chrome was your 11th.
I think that's right about where I had it because he was 12.
Mine's
in the NFC or the AFC.
So,
if he's 12th and 7th, that's I'm right with you.
I had like 19 or 20. That's where I got him right there, which I think is where he should be.
So I only did 18. So I'll just wrap off my 11 through 18.
Hurts.
I had Prescott, Hurts, Watson, Carr, Lawrence, Cousins, Winston, Matt Ryan.
So you have
Derek Carr's not bad. Stop it. Jalen Hurts is not better than Derek Carr. Can we stop now? Can we reel back in here? Let's reel back in.
You have Jalen as a top 12 QB right now?
You have him at 12?
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. He's not better than Derek Carr. He's just not.
You have him better than Matt Ryan, too?
This is where I have him projected to be by the midseason.
I hope you're right, Chrome.
I do too, because then that means maybe the bold prediction comes true. But
yeah.
Well, you're going to need a lot more for that bold prediction to come true.
I mean, listen, we talked about this is a bold prediction show, right? So a lot of all that I did with this, my logic. Yeah. But if I'm going to ride out that I think this guy's going to make this step this year, I'm talking against myself for this whole show.
Yeah.
If I don't elevate him up into the top 15.
No, sure. and I get it.
Deshaun Watson in another world would have been higher than him for sure.
Yep.
I think the other ones could be possibly debatable if I think he's going to be as good as they think he's going to be this year.
And I'm with you with the projection, right? And talking about what is to come. But all we have to go off of Jalen is what we've seen so far. Like, we haven't seen the jump happen, right? That's what happens weeks 1 through 4. And where we come in weeks 5 and 6 and kind of reevaluate these, these lists, then, he might be up there at 12, right? But all we have is what we've seen from him. And again, that kind of, to your point, goes into the bold predictions and the theme, but we haven't seen enough from him to be 12 yet.
Listen, unless you want to be a guy who stands on your own island here, there ain't no rhyme or reason.
When have I never
Jalen Hurts top 12, period.
On my own island, and plenty of times I've been just fine and right on my own island. I'm okay with that.
No. Listen, I love a good boldness, but I think I think that's a lot. I think going into the year,
Jinx.
I would hope that works, but I don't know. I mean, I don't see how he takes that type of jump, and I would love to be wrong. I just don't see it. I know he's got the weapons. I know he's got all this stuff, but the beat top 10, 12. Woo.
Chrome, you blew it out
in the chat. If you watch this whole show, a lot of this has been bold predictions. So I have to honor what I'm predicting for this year, which is a step up. I think he's going to make a jump this year.
Well, listen, okay. Let's say Tom's got him making a jump, right? Tom said, "Oh, I want to jump in the water too," right? So if I have him 19 or 20, to me the growth is, can he 15. Get in the top 15? Yeah. So that's where I'm sort of saying hey, this is where I have him just off of realistic expectations.
Realistically, you're right. But if I have him finishing in the top 5 MVP, I should have him at least getting up to 12.
Well, no, because that was a bold prediction. That's just you being outrageous. That's what bold is.
Right, but I'm riding.
No, he actually believes it. That's the thing. He actually believes it.
Through.
Then it's not bold anymore. Now it's a prediction. It's a real life prediction.
I'm talking myself more and more into this. You know what? He might end up being top 7. Let's see how this goes.
It's funny, Chrome, because I thought I would have him the highest out of anybody. So my 16 through 20, this is where all the guys we've been debating on, they kind of fall here. I have Trevor Lawrence 16. I have Jalen 17. I have Carson 18. I have Jameis 19, and I have Baker 20. So all the last couple hours, how we were debating, how can you have Jameis or how can you have Carson or Trevor?
I would have
they're all kind of in that bulk.
20.
Say that again.
I went up to 18. I would probably then slot in Baker at 19, Wentz at 20.
Yeah, they're all kind of in that cluster. And then just rounding it off real quick, I have Tannehill 21, Fields 22, Goff 23, Mac Jones 24, Tua 25.
Mac under.
Yeah, I think Mac's way too down on your list.
Yeah, I don't like him. I know I'm a hater. I know I'm probably wrong. I just don't.
No, I mean it's not. There's a lot of guys I don't like that I'm going to rank.
I just can't believe you would put Jared Goff above him.
Having
Goff. I would put Goff over.
Well, I mean, we put guys.
Goff with a great roster was. I'm putting these guys on the Eagles. Goff with a great roster got to the Super Bowl.
I think Mac could have did the same or better than what Goff did with that roster.
I have him one. I have Goff one above Mac. When we get to that point, they're the same guy.
It's splitting hairs. I'm just surprised by that.
Yeah, if you ask me again in 24 hours, I might have Mac above Jared because of the hands. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is.
Hey Cal, real quick question: Would it be very bold to say Peyton Manning from year 1 to year 2 would make a big jump? I'm just saying, there's some guys they can't that struggle figuring it out year 1, and the game slows down for him year 2. There's enough to see from Trevor Lawrence to believe he's going to be something special.
And he's in a dumpster fire.
Yeah, and it's getting better.
Take that into consideration.
That's slowly getting better. Not everybody has the position of going with Bill Belichick year 1. Not everybody has the situation, some of these other quarterbacks where they go to good situations right away. That's a situation that has to be built up, and he's part of it. But to say he's not going to get better, that's almost if anything, there's a better chance of. I believe more and we bet more that Trevor Lawrence takes a big step than Joe Burrow has the same type of year. Makes sense? I think when we do these rankings a year from now, that Joe Burrow's outside the top 10 just because of the playoff hangover. And then he has a monster 23 season. That's what I think you get from Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow has a good, not great 2022 season because I think the Bengals take a step just for a year. But I think in 23, Burrow's the lights out again. That's just how the ebb and flow works sometimes. You know what I mean? When you lose the Super Bowl, look at everybody's next year. Yeah. Everybody's next year always is a hangover. So expect Joe Burrow to take a slight step back isn't crazy. Not because he's not a stud.
Well, that's because of a lot of D coordinators. They have a lot more tape on them now too.
It's a long season, and you go on a little book tour, even as a loser. It's a lot, right? It's a lot to deal with, and then they expect your team to overcome everything that they did this past year, which was remarkable. for Bengals fans, right? Like they overcame a lot. They went on the road in the playoffs and were winning football games. Like, come on, guys, it doesn't happen. That's like a ride to remember type deal. Usually that next year you take a little step, just a little step, and then you gather yourself, and boom, we're back. It happens all the time. So I think Burrow takes, as a team, and him take a step back. Where I think Lawrence takes a gigantic step forward. Like, don't be surprised if the Jaguars work their way into like winning like 7 games, 8 games. Like I'm telling you, don't think call me crazy now, but I think they like find a way. No, that's it, Greg. I just think if they find a way to get better because he takes a big jump.
No, I was just going to see what I think they were 7.5, 8.
No way.
6.5. I'm sorry, so 6.5.
All right, I'm pounding the over. What are you guys doing there? You pounding the over or you under? I think they're over.
How many games did they win last year? 2? I think they won 7.
Still.
I say they win 7. And Eugene.
So you're over. What do you guys say? Over, under, Jax?
Under.
6.5. Greg, under?
6.5.
Under.
I'll
So
have
I'm
them
going
under.
6. I'm going 6, so I'll go under.
Wow, you
You know
switching
what?
up.
I'll go over. I think they win 8 games.
You were over. What happened? What changed your mind?
The Jags, and I think they're still.
Yeah, but you got to stop it. You can't, like, the Bengals were the Bengals. Like, you guys can't do that. Like, if you believe in the guy as a quarterback, he's going to
I
change.
didn't predict the Bengals to be good, so I was
I'm not
wrong
saying
there.
you did. Do you believe? Listen, do you believe in the quarterback? It's a yes or no. Because if you don't believe in him, then I understand it. But
Well,
if you believe in him, you got to expect them to take a big jump year 2.
I would say 4 wins is a big jump. I mean, that's not. I mean, it's not going up 1, going from 2 to 6 or 7. I mean, that's
No, but
big.
you said 7, retracted it quickly. So I want to know why you retract. No,
I think 5 wins in 1 season in the NFL was gigantic. I don't believe in it that much. I don't. I don't think.
Yeah, but to be a 7-win football team isn't believing that much. You're under 500. You're not that good.
Jumping by 5 wins is making a big difference, in my opinion.
In the NFL, with a franchise per se quarterback, isn't a big jump. You know what I'm saying? Like in year 2 of a franchise quarterback, that's not in the history of the league. It's not been that big of a jump. Now, being a playoff team, big jump. but like winning 7 games, because you remember the other side of it, right? Is it's a strength of schedule. You're playing a last place schedule, so you have the ability to take the jump. Now, I'm just saying I base it strictly off of, do I believe in the quarterback to take that kind of jump? I do. You guys might not, which is totally fine. Like that's a lot of speculation and guessing when we're doing that shit.
Honestly, the biggest reason why I went from 7 to 6 was, hey, what was their big acquisition? Christian Kirk for $85 million? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not getting DeVonta Adams, for example. Like, they need Travis Etienne to be an NFL player, and hopefully Urban Meyer getting out of the building adds like 3 wins, just like that.
Well, I think when you go from a coach like that to this, you're definitely going to take a jump. When I think you add Christian Kirk in, who I'm not comparing as a stud or anything, but he's a good wide receiver, and it gives him at least it gives him a weapon per se, right? Which he has a few down there, but gives him another one. When you add arguably the best defensive player in the draft, right, it makes you a little bit better. So there's little things. I mean, listen, they're not a playoff team, but can they make the jump? I don't know. And yeah, MG, the Jags do suck. So nobody's around here crowning the Jags.
and Eugene, I don't know if you're a Saints fan. I know you're clearly a Winston guy, but like I don't get your point. Like we did our exercise and we had Jalen over him, and then in our rankings we still have Jalen over him. We have Jalen 17. We have Jameis 19. So they're in a bowl.
I don't know about the above. I had Jalen at 12 and Winston at 17. So.
Oh yeah, and then for Chrome, it's a big jump.
That's not slight. That's not just over.
No, Sam, they didn't get Jamar Chase, but I also didn't say they were going to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, the Bengals were a dumpster. Year 2, they take a huge jump to a Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Jags go to the Super Bowl. Just saying that they jump, that they get over 6.5 wins. Goodness gracious, let's calm down here.
But they do have as much as I rip Doug and not a fan, they do have a competent coach though now for the first time in a long time. Right, and a guy that you think, and even when he was here, again, I'm not a Doug guy by any means, but he's going to bring stability. He's going to bring stability to a franchise that has just been a dumpster fire, and that's got to amount for something.
And they won 3 games last year, so it would be a 4-game jump.
All right, then I'll go to 7. I was going off of Greg's bad numbers again, so I'll
I
go
just
to
guessed.
7.
I didn't even say 2.
I said, did they win 2? And you said yes.
Yeah, they won 3 though.
So I mean, hold on. Let's look at their entire thing here, right? Lawrence, Etienne, James Robinson, Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, right? Laviska Shenault, Evan Ingram, Cam Robinson, who we expect to be a really good football player, right? Brandon Sheriff's a good guard in this league. Okay. Defense has obviously when you bring in you already had Josh Allen, you had Trayvon Walker there, Devin Lloyd. I mean, Shaquille Griffin. I mean, and they're in a horrendous division. Division.
Yeah.
Maybe the worst division in football. They absolutely can. Listen, not only this, I'm going to go a fucking step further. Not only that, they can win that division, and that is not a bold prediction. That is not bold at all. Look at their division. They stink. Who's a clear-cut favorite in that division? I would love for somebody to tell me that.
The Colts.
Give me a second.
Colts? Okay, that underachieve all the time? Sure.
So Colts are minus 125, so they're obviously the favorites.
Yeah, but they just underachieved again.
What are the Titans?
I'm going there next.
He's
No,
going there.
Titans are plus 170. Jacksonville's plus 750. And then Houston's plus 2,500. So Jacksonville's slightly outside of that Washington range, Tom, that you were kind of in there, right? You know what I mean?
It's just that all those teams, the winner of that division could win 8 games. Like, in reality, like it could. I think the Colts are better than that, but they could. You know what I mean? They absolutely could. I mean, Matt Ryan could hit the wall like Chrome said. Like, it's not like they have Jonathan Taylor. But outside of that, like, they're okay. Like, Michael Pittman's okay. Like, they don't have a lot of weapons there outside of the running game. Their defense is good, not great. Like, they're very beatable. So the point is like the winner of the AFC South could literally win 8 games, maybe 9. So it doesn't take a gigantic.
Oh my God, what a catch!
To get to like 11 wins, like, you know what I mean, where you have to say, hey, you better win 11 or 12 to win that division. My only point is that division's open per se, just because Indy's good, but they're not like the Colts are coming to town, can't beat them.
Yeah, I would say I'm confident that the winner of that division is going to be the 4th seed, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like that division can't compete with the division winner of the other 3 divisions.
No.
So like it's the 3. Well, really, I could argue it's the 2 because I don't know how good the other divisions could be. That's beside the point. And then it's whoever's down in the South. I honestly think we would all be shocked if they have multiple playoff teams. And that's like, I hate saying that because I really like Mike Vrabel, and I think Mike Vrabel is one of the better coaches in the NFL. But
I do too. I think they're more of the favorite to win that division in my eyes than the Colts are, just because of the way the Colts have been like underachieving. Vrabel gets his guys to actually play up, and they still have. I mean, you talk about the 2 best running backs in football in the same division. You know, I think that gives those 2 teams an edge. But it's also the NFL, and it's weird, and teams win divisions that shouldn't all the time. If
Robert Woods is anything close to what he was before injury, I think the Titans are good, because you're going from A.J. Brown, you know, and I understand Julio Jones was like Jim Jones, like he wasn't Julio Jones.
Yeah.
But still, that presence there was big. Also, they had a ton of injuries last year. Now you go to, you know, Robert Woods coming off of injury, and the kid that they drafted that was like A.J. Brown, but in a, you know, as a prospect, which is so easy to say.
Right. Yeah.
No. George Pickens is going to be a monster.
He went to Pittsburgh.
Traylon Burks,
yeah.
Okay.
But listen, they did it last year, like you said, right? They did it with, you know, Vrabel and those guys did it with like everybody hurt. So, you know, they were a playoff team when everybody hurt. So you would expect them to still be a playoff team. But again, like it's the NFL. That's why that's why the league makes so much money, because of ebb and flow. Because the teams you don't expect to be good are going to be good. It's just the way the league's always worked. It's weird. It's like owners pay out. Hey, I'm gonna pay a little extra money and rig me some games, so we can be good this year.
And real quick at the very end,
it seems like staying on top of the mountain is a lot harder now too.
True.
It is, like before the Bills took off, like they weren't, you know what I mean? Right. Nobody was predicting the Bills. the year they made the play. You know what I mean? Nobody was running around saying Josh Allen takes a step.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing it.
Right.
That's what
And then all of a sudden they're AFC contenders.
No, I thought Josh Allen sucked for like the first year and a half, and I'm like, oh,
And
really? Hey,
Ryan, you weren't alone there. I mean, a lot of people did. But we know Trevor Lawrence doesn't stink. Always, we don't expect him to stink. That's my whole Jags argument, is we don't expect him to stink. And when you really look over that offense again, it's like quite sneakily pretty good. It's sneaky.
You know what's funny? You know what I think Trevor's going to end up being? And it's good. Again, it could be a good thing, and then 5 seconds later it could be bad. I think he's going to be a less disastrous version of Carson. Like, I think when you look at them, they're very comparable. I just think, I mean, I would hope for the Jaguars, not that I care, but that it's a little bit less disaster with Trevor. But like big play, athleticism, you're going to make a mistake or two. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're going to be very similar.
What was his numbers last year? I mean, I didn't dabble with Jags games, but Lawrence. I mean, like I just told you guys, those weapons don't worry about, like, we can laugh at the money, obviously, because they spend stupid money, right? Mm-hmm. But like, take out the stupid money. That's like 3 good weapons, though, like on your outside. And I'm not counting Chenault. I'm just counting Marvin Jones Jr. always catches passes. That's all he does, right? Christian Kirk, solid. He's a deep threat, right? Zay Jones has always been like a decent target, right?
He's a worker, at least.
And
He'll run a clean route.
Mm-hmm. And Chenault can play. So like,
former first-round pick.
So when you look at those 4 wide receivers, like, he has guys that throw the football. And Evan Ingram just hasn't had a quarterback either. Not saying he's good, just hasn't had a quarterback. And then when you look at their defense, they have the ability to get after the quarterback. They have an okay secondary. It's getting better. They're not deep by any stretch, but and you got a Super Bowl winning coach going there. It's got a whole, when you go from, look what happened with us. We went from Chip Kelly and the smoothies and the college life to a man. Look how fast things changed here, right? Well, you're having the same thing on steroids. You're going from the worst guy of all time, reportedly, to Doug Peterson, who is the definition of vanilla ice cream and a player's coach, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when you change that much, guys want to run through walls for you. That's what happens right away. So when he walks in that building and he says hello to somebody and knows their name,
breath of fresh air.
Yeah, dude, it mattered here. Look what happened with Chip. I mean, the same thing happened with
secretary.
Chip. Yeah. So
his stats, Tom.
So I got it. Oh, you
sure?
You got it right?
Are you sure you have it?
Yeah, come on. 59.6.
Come on, me. What do you mean, come on, me? Don't come on with the numbers.
59.6 completion percentage. 36.41 yards. 12 tutties. 17 INTs.
Yep, what sounds about right for a rookie. Sounds about right for a guy in a bad spot. 1-win team. That's sort of the numbers you get year one. I look at
rush for 330 yards and 2 tutties.
I look at the passing yards; they're there. You know what I mean? 3,600. The recipe's there for him. It is.
Yeah, and if you look at it, right, you put that completion percentage. If you up that 6%, right, get into the mid 60s, right, and then you work on your TD to INT ratio. That's not hard to do when you surround yourself with a little bit more talent and a little bit better coaching.
Yeah, and I won't even say a little bit, right? A lot better on both ends. Yeah. In reality, like, it's just a better football team than it was a year ago. And let's keep in mind how much the game slows down for these guys from year 1 to year 2. So it just has in the history of football. So we'll see. But that's my bold. My bold one is I think they got a weird outside chance of winning that division.
And real quick, my last 7. It's Tua at 25, Trubisky 26, Trey Lance at 27. Obviously, I'm sure people will be like, "Oh, well, you're not giving him a chance." That can change by season's end. I'm going by what I see right now, and also I don't think he's very good, so that maybe it won't change. Mariota at 28, Davis Mills 29, and then my bottom 3, I have Zach Wilson 30.
Oh,
I wanted so badly to put Daniel Jones 31st, but then I remembered, oh wait, the Seahawks. So I'll just put the Seahawks at 32.
Poor Zach.
Yeah, he's got to. I mean, freaking what was that guy? Mike White? I mean, he might be freaking better.
Western Kentucky's
Where-
own
where you
Mike
got-
White.
Where you got Jimmy G rated?
I was waiting to hear
Yeah.
like, oh, where's Jimmy? Which I think should be the Browns quarterback, by the way, or the Giants quarterback, but I don't care about either of those franchises, so that's fine. If he
Jimmy's
was
absolutely outside of the, I'd say he's top 20.
on, Jimmy's right
19 or
there.
20.
Jimmy's right there with the Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston. I would probably put Jimmy at 19, one above Jameis. And I'm sure Eugene's going to come through the screen, but I'm sorry. that guy's flying in his house. Oh, my God, they have Garoppolo. Yes, I have the guy who got to the Super Bowl and almost to a second one. Yes, I do.
Dude's the biggest Jameis Winston fan I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't know they still existed, so congrats.
Boys, I'm out. I got to be up early.
Later, Mr.
Catch
Crow.
you guys next
Later.
week.
See you, brother.
So,
Later, Crown.
Peace out to the fam.
Yeah, take it easy, Mike.
See you, brother. Go Birds.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have. My lists are done. My notes are done.
While we were going through that, I put together a quick division winner parlay, right?
Jesus Christ.
And I want you guys just tell me where I might be outrageous and where because obviously odds factor in it, right? So I got the Eagles,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Titans,
It's fine. Yeah, it's not nuts.
Chargers,
I'm not going to argue for any of those teams. Like, it could be any of them.
Yeah.
Here's where I think is my craziest one. Vikings.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
What?
I think the Vikings are good.
Bucks,
Yeah,
Rams, and then Ravens.
I don't agree with that, but yeah, for the most part, I do agree.
You have Cincy.
No, I think I have the Ravens. I don't like that I have the same as you. So by the time we do our predictions in a couple weeks, I will have changed drastically my predictions.
Yeah, I don't think there's a shot Cincinnati wins that division this year.
I think they could be in the running, but
I'm just
they're
out.
not going to be as good as they were last year.
The hangover's real. No, the hangover's
Yeah,
real.
I think the hangover's going to happen, but
Oh my God.
We have to remember the Ravens were the most injury-plagued football team we've seen in years. Like, they were done preseason. So, like, Lamar's got to prove he can stay healthy, all these guys. But if they stay relatively healthy, they're going to be right there. And I think they always have a great roster.
That's so that one right there is plus 96,831, right? So $10 gets you 9,700.
Yeah, Greg, like I said, at the moment, I don't have many complaints about that list. In a couple weeks, I will.
Yeah, when you have to go away from me.
I have to. I can't, that bothers me. Like, aside from the Titans, which, again, I can understand, and, one other one, I'm, dead on with you, which bothers me.
The toughest one is going to predict the West winner, right? I think is the toughest one, is predicting that West winner. Because they could all have really good years, and Kansas City can still make the playoffs going 10-6 when the Chargers go 11-5, right?
Yeah, I mean, Andy wakes up and he wins 10 games without even trying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, anyone who thinks they lost pieces, they're going to win 8 games. What happened to Mahomes? A lot has to happen for that.
The hardest one's the AFC East.
Yeah.
It really is, because Miami got better. We know what the Patriots always are, and the Bills are really good. So, what is to it, right? And he's got 2 slant guys that can take it house there. So, what are they? They're good defensively. I mean, so
and each one of them are going to beat the Jets twice.
Well, and that's reflective in the odds, though, Tommy, to your point, right? So you got the Bills at minus 230. So I think them and the Bucks. So Bucks were minus 270. So those are your 2 heavy favorites to win their divisions, right? And then they got the Dolphins at plus 450 at second. Patriots at plus 500, so they're right there neck and neck.
Okay.
And then the Jets are plus 2,000.
Man, I almost got to put money on the Patriots and the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Two separate bets.
Just almost hedge that, right?
Yeah, hedge them both because I think one of those two teams could win that division.
It's very possible, yeah.
Not crazy.
Every year we have.
And you got to remember too. I mean, Miami they signed who's the running back from
not Melvin Gordon, right?
No, from Arizona.
Oh,
James Conner?
No, the other guy.
Johnson?
Carson
No.
Edwards? Carson
No.
Edwards? Not Carson Edwards.
Edmonds.
Carson Edwards.
Chase
plays for
Edmonds.
the Celtics.
Chase
Edmonds. You know, so he's going to get his first shot at really being an every down back.
I literally said Carson Edwards. Jesus Christ.
Who said the Jags are better than the Ravens? Nobody said that, MG.
no.
I don't think anybody even thought that.
I don't know why we even put
No,
that in the
no.
conversation. I said the Jags could be better than the Titans. Could. They could be better than the Colts. Could. You know, whatever. It's all a fucking guessing game.
Greg, I think your best pick was the Vikings, though, because I think that's where you really separate yourself from others.
Yeah, they were the highest. They were plus 2. They were plus 240. Them and the Chargers were plus 240.
I think if there's going to be a guy who can get anything out of Kirk Cousins, because again, I was never
I
a Zimmer
completely
guy.
agree with you.
I think, and again, if Dalvin Cook, like this is kind of like, you know, if Joel Embiid stays healthy, like if Dalvin Cook stays healthy, they're already great. Thielen's finally fully healthy after 2 years of being banged up. Justin Jefferson exists. Their defense is like replenished now. They were the retirement home a couple years ago. Now they're replenished. I think Kevin O'Connell wins the Coach of the Year, and I think the Vikings win the division.
Yeah, I just
That's
don't know
how much
about
I
the
like
Vikings defense right now.
That's fair. There's still some questions.
But there's question marks in Green Bay at the wide receiver position. There's question marks in more places. But I mean, listen, that's another one where if you told me the Vikings win the division, I'm not like shocked by it.
Right.
You know.
I just look at it every year. It's like a power of 4. You have 4 or 5 teams that were in the playoffs that move out, and 4 or 5 that were out that move in. So
Yeah,
that's where you talk about like the Pats, the Dolphins, the Vikings, like they could move in, or the Jags.
It's the biggest ebb and flow. It's the biggest ebb and flow sport there is, and that's why they make so much money. So you know, it's a must-watch TV because every year your team really does have a chance, unless you're like the Lions. Sorry, Don. You know. But Kirk Cousins is a flat spinner of the rock. So I mean,
episode 2 was on last night. I gotta watch it.
I mean, that's all he does.
Kirk has been it, and you put an offensive guy, as you know, kind of Ryan, as you mentioned, put an offensive guy there. It's make or break it too. Again, a guy on a contract year, right? He's up, you know, this 3rd year of his guaranteed deal. So, no, or did they just extend him?
Who?
Did they?
Kirk
Cousins.
I feel like they've been giving him like 1-year extensions. Like I feel like every year I'm like he's at the end of his deal, right? And it's like, oh no, he still has 2. And I'm like, where'd that come from? I feel like they did. I feel like they gave him something. Because like they were in talks.
Didn't he originally sign for 7 years, $84 million?
$5 million.
I don't think.
You know what's funny, guys? You know what's funny? If we had Justin Jefferson, we would have Micah Parsons too. So.
But Tommy's a slot guy.
Yeah, can't play. That's what I was told. So you gotta watch the game. Can't play on the outside. That's funny because I seen him beat a million people on the outside in his college career. Oh, he's got Jamar Chase next to him. That's why he's so good. Or he's got Joe Barrow to throw him the ball. That's why he's so good. Nah, he's pretty good anyway.
Just might be pretty good.
Meanwhile,
listen, you catch 100 balls at Jackson State, and I'm gonna want to take a peekaboo at you. I'm gonna want to see a little bit more of you.
Yeah, I mean, and meanwhile, the guy we took, you know, breaking news that came through Jeff McClain, he secured the 4th wide receiver spot today, because that's an achievement.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, hopefully in a smaller role, maybe something can come together. Like maybe there's at least flash.
Anwar, you need some sleep.
If that happens,
Get some sleep, man.
you won't see me on the show the following week.
Man, that'll be the
Gosh.
Parsons.
No, we're not going to do that.
Well, saying we did trade back like 3 times to get to the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have had Parsons. We held a higher pick than them at the time when it all started.
We were
Fellas,
6th?
I got to get some rest, all right?
All right.
Yeah, we're following you, Noah.
Yeah, we're right here. But
By the way, the Phillies are going to take 3 out of 4 from the Mets.
Hope so.
giddy up.
Yeah, why? Before we head out of here, what's your guys' predictions of this series coming up?
Split.
2-2.
I'm gonna go 3-4.
Come on, 3 out of 4. We got to get it.
We have the pitching
Bats
matchups.
got to wake up.
We have the pitching matchups where we're missing. I think we're missing both DeGrom and Scherzer. Scherzer through tonight, so we're definitely missing him.
DeGrom should be next, so
and,
I don't think we're getting him.
Yeah, so I think we're missing both DeGrom. It's just you're probably splitting that doubleheader, right? It's just you're splitting that doubleheader, and then how do you come out on Sunday? I think we go 3 or 4. We need to.
The doubleheader is Saturday, ain't it?
Yes,
Sunday.
it is.
Oh no, I thought it was Sunday. Probably Saturday though.
Yes.
Greg, I've seen a very positive side of you the last couple hours, and I gotta say, I don't like it. I don't like it. Like you're picking the Eagles to win a bunch of games. You put them in a parlay. You have the Phillies winning the series. I don't like it. It feels unnatural and dirty, and I don't like it.
Sorry, I'll go back to negative Nancy.
Just know if they lose the series, you'll be receiving a very strongly worded text message.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, we start tomorrow with Nola against Bassett. We saw Bassett. I like to think that we can hit Bassett this time around.
Squirrel.
They have it right now that Wheeler's pitching the first game, and Falter's pitching game 2. And then we have Gibson rounding out the series against T1 Walker. They haven't announced their Saturday starters yet.
But didn't Walker just get hurt?
I think so. But I don't think it's obviously anything major.
I guess he's fine.
But yeah, of course he did. He's on my fantasy team now.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Greg.
We need Wheeler to bounce back. He had a rough outing his last time out.
Underwent MRI Wednesday, which showed no structural damage. It says, though, those availability for Sunday start is up in the air.
Nice bullpen game out of the Mets. That'll be fun.
They won tonight 9-7.
Well, I saw that was after one of the Braves outfielders literally tried to grab a ball and fell down. It was one of the I've seen how bad our defense has been. Whatever happened in the outfield tonight for the Braves was one of the worst I've seen in years. I've seen a guy freaking face plant into a wall, and whatever happened in Atlanta was worse.
It's going to be interesting, though, like what happens with Marsh, especially defensively. Obviously, we know he's not an offensive guy yet, but there's no one else. I mean, Verling's going to be the guy, but there's really no one else that can play the outfield if Schwarber continues to be out. He's the key. He's got to come back for the weekend. Yeah, and I know Thompson said he's available and he's going to be available, but we can't keep rolling Nick Maton and Matt Vierling out here in the middle of a playoff run.
Well, the guy they were going to call up and have as an emergency case scenario for September was Muzziotti, and he just got
and he's on surgery.
Season ender. Yeah, season ender.
Yep.
So that's where I'm like, let's call Rojas up. Everybody the Braves call up gets an extension 3 weeks into their season, so let's call Rojas up. Let's stop being scared. If he's your future center fielder, let's see what he is.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck calling him up.
He's like 18.
Yeah, we still are the Phillies.
Yeah. All right, boys. Great show. Excited for Eagles season.
Yes.
Right around the block. Phillies, big series, obviously, starting Friday against the Mets. Not really big because of division reasons, just big because of playoff reasons. Milwaukee did lose tonight, so they gained no ground on us. Still a game and a half, and Arizona just beat the Giants, they don't gain any ground on us either. So still 1.5 up from Milwaukee. So great show, everybody. Love you guys. For Greg Mwakovic, Michael Chromiak not here. Some guy naked, no eating, I think. Frank Vespi, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. We were brought to you by BetUS. They are a leading online sports book, and they've been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Just use our promo code A2D for 125% sign up bonus. We love you all. You guys help drive the show. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow button, leave a great review. Follow us on all social media platforms. A2D Radio is where you can find us. We out. Go Birds like that, losers.